6:25. Welcome to Tuesday, the 6th of December, 2022. My name is Nathan Quao, sitting in for Bernard Avler. This is the Citi Breakfast Show. Bonjour, good morning, buenos dias. Welcome. Grab a seat and let's have breakfast. Join us on 0549-986-996. On Twitter at Citi973. Hashtag CitiCBS. If you're listening to us outside the jurisdiction, then it must be via citinewsroom.com. As usual, show runs until 10 a.m. So hop on, let's have a great time discussing the things that matter to you on a Tuesday morning. Start off with our business sense. Brought to us by ADB. ADB is giving you the payday plus, especially if your salary goes through their bank. The great news is that you can access up to 10,000 cedis or 80% of your next net monthly salary. And your money will hit your account the same day, and there's no interest on repayment within 30 days. If you are interested, call Meredith on 0243-273-369 or now on 0244-284-197. ADB, truly a Greek and more. Our business sense today comes from Zig Ziglar. He says a lot of people have gone further than they thought they could because someone else thought they could. A lot of people have gone further than they thought they could because someone else thought they could. That's what leadership does. It's supposed to lift people up and let them know that they can achieve far bigger than what they see in their mind. So be that person today. Be that person who uplifts a team member, somebody you are mentoring, guiding, supervising. Let them know that they can achieve far bigger than they are achieving now. Let them know that there's a bigger place for them. Let them know that they can shine and excel. Even when they are their worst, then you'll be leading properly. That's our business sense brought to us by ADB. ADB, truly a Greek and more. The newspaper review comes up next. This is the Citi Breakfast Show. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Why would you want to be caught up in this?
Madam, what is the meaning of this?
Oh, we are trying to resolve.
Why can't I use my Visa card here? What is that?
Let me get back to you shortly.
Or this?
What sort of embarrassment is this?
Sir, I apologize for the inconvenience.
I've finished shopping and they're saying I can't use my Visa card to make payment.
What country are you in again?
Why?
Don't be caught up in this mess. Use ADB's Visa prepaid card wherever you are in the world because it's fast, safe, secure, and reliable for all your online payments and transactions. You don't need to have an account with ADB to get your ADB Visa prepaid card.
Hello? Hello, can you hear me? I'm at the stadium in Qatar. My card is not working.
Sir, I'm sorry. Which of the stadium?
Madam.
And who is playing?
You know who I am.
Don't miss the World Cup experience in Qatar. Just walk into any ADB branch with your Ghana card and request for one now. Call ADB on 0302-210-210. ADB, truly a Greek and more. Terms and conditions apply.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3, Twitter at twitter.com/Citi973, and Instagram at instagram.com/Citi973 with the hashtag CitiCBS.
Darling, what's your problem?
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
Darling, what's your movement?
The Citi Breakfast Show, rise above the noise. The Citi Breakfast Show.
Why never
6:30. Sounds of Prayer. They call this one Capture Me. And they'll be featuring live at the Situation on December 24 at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel from 8 p.m. It's an all-white affair. Call 0205-973-973 or 0558-973-973 to book your table. Don't miss out on this one. It's been a long year. Come and let's party. Come and let's have fun. Prayer will be there, Aquaba will be there, then Chin Chin Band will be there. There will be lots to eat and drink. And our DJs, DJ Mango, DJ JJ, will serve you hit after hit after hit. Oh Lord. So that's the Situation outdoor party. Like I said, call 0205-973-973 or 0558-973-973 to get your table. Remember, it's brought to you by, supported by Citi FM and Ghana Weekend, and is sponsored by Ebony Condom Series, Doritos and Lays, inspired by Citi TV. This is a Beyond the Return event. So yeah, December 24 is happening live and live. All right, coming up next is the newspaper review. Brought to us by Fidelity Bank. They are giving you the Fidelity Sikaboom promo. All you have to do is deposit and maintain 300 cedis in your Fidelity account every month to participate. And you're a winner. 100,000 cedis, that's what is on the table. So if you have an account, keep that account going. If you don't have one, go and set up one at Fidelity Bank now. And win big. Fidelity Bank, believe with us. And Total Energy is also bringing us the newspaper review. They are 3-time winners of the Company of the Year award given out by the CIMG, and they are the CIMG Hall of Fame for petroleum, and they are saying that they will keep giving you the best of products and services to meet your needs and expectations. So keep being friends with Total Energies. And the segment's also brought to us by Kel Chaco Toothpaste. Happy Smile. Let me welcome the guys. Godfrey Akotobuafu is here. Richard the Last Guy is here. Guys, good morning.
Good morning, my brother. It's hey, Bobo. Hey, Bobo. That day who asked him the meaning of Hey, Bobo. Do you want to buy Bobo? Ask him. Gobe. The original name of the team that Davi gave to the team is Bobo.
Bobo.
Bobo Gali. You have some Talia, which is the, what do you call it? Bajo Tote. If you have some Jomi on the side from, Bridget Jogbenuku, you take do nice, Jomi with Tonyo Sabala side.
What about the
Pepe the side where you pour some little gari on the side. Then you mean say, hey. Problem no day. Problem no.
What about that?
That's a very full meal.
What about the plantain?
Plantain, that is the Bajo Tote. Exactly. It makes it ripe small. You get me? You ripe where you do nice.
Blajo Tortue.
Yeah, the Blajo Tortue, yeah.
It is sweat small.
Then you add some koliko. You know koliko?
Yes, I know koliko.
Yeah, Charlie, me say that place. No. Situation is happening on the 24th. And I want to ask the people. They say, room divider. They say the room divider who you fear. When the bad people are mommy.
But you know when you have a room divider?
What is a room divider?
But you have a room divider.
No, tell me.
So room divider, there's the modern type, not the office type. So he's talking about the one in the room.
The one in the room.
Two types. Single room, self-contained.
Thank you.
And then you put some wooden panel in the middle. Divider one. Then there's the second type, which is curtain. So you put the rack there, and then the curtain still room divider.
The question is whether brothers are still using room divider.
Hey, Charlie, share.
People are still using
Hey! The situation is not a situation like that. The situation is not a situation everywhere. Room divider, popular. Sure. Anyway, let me take you to the front page of the papers today. I'll start from the Daily Guide, which has shown up. Welcome, Daily. Yes, welcome to you, Daily Guide.
Daily Guide hasn't been around for a while.
Yeah, welcome to you, Daily Guide. Front page says, "Be bold to reshuffle." Former President Kufuor. NDC rejects debt restructuring. Debt exchange will boost confidence. Dr. Ernest Addison and the TUC. Dr. Yao Anthony Ba and his people, they say, let's support government to rebuild economy.
Let me take you to the Ghanaian Times for this morning. Government rolls out domestic debt exchange program. Finance Minister appeals for support from Ghanaians. Now there's a direct reaction from the minority. They are rejecting government's debt exchange program, urging Minister to engage in broader consultation. Comes with a photograph of Haruna Idrisu, the minority leader. Also, mixed feelings, great domestic debt exchange program. Details on the front page.
Let me take you to the front page of the Finder newspaper. Debt support exchange to save economy. Further appeals to Ghanaians investors. Offer expires December 19, but may be extended. Alan Chamartin is on the front page of the paper. He's been touring the Volta region and he's asking the people of Hohoi to back government's recovery efforts. To ASEAN to pay 32 million Ghana cedis as reparation, restitution, and interest on 57 million Ghana cedis. And then 1,525 pass out under years community police assistance module.
The Chronicle says this morning, fuel prices tumble at the pumps, but transport unions are mute as to what they are doing with the fares. Also this morning, we have a story that says NSS pushes for authority status. That's what they ask for all the time. Every time some institutions say, give us status, authority will do better. Nothing happens after they are given. This one says that we won't accept 1.4 billion Ghana cedi contingency vote, according to the minority.
Let me take you to the front page of the Anchor newspaper. They are saying minority issues another empty threat. Vow they won't accept debt restructuring program. Ambitious net targets 1 million self-employed persons by 2024.
The Economy Times says this morning, Ghana's balance of payment deteriorates, records $3.4 billion in deficit. Also, government to shift focus to fiscal stability in IMF support as negotiation progresses, and inflation expectations high, according to the Bank of Ghana. Comes with a photograph of the governor of the central bank, but they have put there Ken Oforiatta, Minister for Finance. I don't know what's going on.
Okay, let me take you to the front page of the Daily Graphic, where the finance minister is looming large
on the front
page. But the story I want to take there is Kojo Ashong Bridge cries for help. That's the bridge over the Denso River at Kojo Ashong. Of course, the minority and the TUC's opinions on the debt exchange is also on the front page. And phase 2, Tamamoto Way roundabout expansion works begin. Okay. And then finally, the graphic business also says debt swap remain calm. Banks, pension fund managers to customers.
Okay, let me take you to the New Crusading Guide newspaper. Government needs $68 million to complete Saglemi housing project. This project that has been left to rot to a large extent, they need additional money to finish it. Is that what they are asking for? And also, there's a story here that says that debt exchange program move will restore our capacity to service debt. That's on the front page of the Business Analyst. And if you go to the ABC newspaper or news, there's a story here that says that Nana Siribo is 2022 National Best Farmer.
Okay. If you go online, citynewsroom.com, Says TUC fumes over lack of engagement on government's debt exchange program. Minority rejects government's debt restructuring program. We have Dr. Addison saying that the debt exchange plan will boost confidence in Ghana's economy. In other stories on the country's economic crisis, Arise Ghana protesters to hit the streets today. And Esiboye Eboa, who says debt exchange program laudable but not deep enough. Okay. Then you have former President Kufuor saying fire or reshuffle non-performing appointees. So it looks like Charlie he's going.
Charlie, this is what you say in the room at 3 a.m. in the morning to the man. But if the man is coming out to say this publicly, that means there's a problem.
Anyway, more stories. If you go to citybusinessnews.com, government confident of reaching staff level agreement with IMF soon. So that's an interesting one we should take note of. And plus they have other stories. No haircuts on treasury bills, principal bonds. That's according to the government. If you go to citysportsonline.com, Sami Kufuor is speaking. Sami Tuga. He says we should find solutions, not point fingers. Sami Kufuor on Black Stars exit. And Asante Kotoko appoint.
You go till finish. That way they can't tell you.
So that make no jokes. Okay. Orlando Wellington is new assistant coach at Asante Kotoko. And 2010 heartbreak didn't impact our loss to Uruguay in Qatar. That's coming from Danny Amati. And if you go to myjoyonline.com, thank you. The day Ayu tweets praises Black. Thank you. The day Ayu tweets praise Black Stars captain for missed penalty as Brazil mauled South Korea.
No, wait. Read the thing again.
Thank you. The day Ayu. Okay, thank you, Dede Ayu tweets, praise, quote unquote, Stars captain for missed penalty as Brazil mauls South Korea. People are saying
that was Danny K's tweet. That was Danny K's tweet.
People are saying that assuming Ghana had gone past Uruguay, it would have been Brazil, and we would have been the ones at the end of that shellacking from last night. So it's all good. Minority says will not accept the debt restructuring. And the health minister says something very interesting. Ghanaian nurses to work in UK under new deal. Okay, plus all agenda 111 hospitals cannot be completed by 2024. That's coming from an MPP MP. Maybe we'll get into that later. But if you go international,
can they complete?
We'll see. If you go international, the BBC says emergency power shutdowns in Ukraine after attacks, and Indonesia passes law banning sex outside of marriage. Interesting. And Meta threatens to remove US news content. Charlie, it looks like every day something's happening there.
Anyway, let me take you to debt exchange and its attendance issues. Front page of the Daily Graphic says debt exchange kicks off. Says that the government has launched a voluntary exercise that allows institutions that hold bonds issued locally in Ghana cedis to postpone their interest on their investments in return for full payment of the principal on a later date. Although the arrangement promises no interest payments in the first year, 2023, interest will be paid the following year at 5%. Launching the Ghana Debt Exchange Program yesterday, the Minister of Finance, Kenneth Furata, gave an assurance that the program will not affect the principal investments of bond holders. He explained that holders of all existing bonds as of December 1 this year could voluntarily submit their bonds and go for new ones that would mature in 2027, 2029, 2032, and 2037. The exercise would affect approximately 137 billion Ghana cedis of the domestic notes and bonds of the Republic, including ESLA and Dachi bonds, he said at a press conference in Accra to launch the program. So that's we'll go into details on that later. There have been some responses to this, though.
Exactly. If you go to page 4 of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, the minority is rejecting government's debt exchange program. The story is by Julius Yao. Petesi says that the minority says they are completely opposed to the domestic debt exchange program announced by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta in Accra yesterday. The caucus wonders why Mr. Ofori-Atta did not announce the details of the program to MPs in the 2023 budget he presented to Parliament on November 24. Addressing a press conference in Accra moments after the Minister of Finance's announcement, the minority leader Haruna Idrisu said the program would further exacerbate the suffering of the
Okay.
people of Ghana.
Let me give you some more angles from the banks who are on the front page of the graphic business. They are saying remain calm. And banks and pension fund managers have appealed to their customers to remain calm as they work with the government to fine-tune mitigation measures against potential spillovers from the debt exchange program. The Ghana Association of Bankers and the Chamber of Corporate Trustees told the graphic business in separate interviews that while they expected the exercise to affect their operations, they were convinced that appropriate risk absorbers would be instituted to cushion their players against unlikely losses.
Okay, let's stay with that particular material. If you go to page 15 of the Ghanaian Times, there's a story there, Mixed Feelings, Great Domestic Debt Exchange Program. And Claude Nyako Adams, writing for the paper, says the Dean of the School of Business at University of Cape Coast, Professor John Gachi, says government's debt exchange program will certainly result in haircuts for domestic creditors. He explained that the elongation of maturity dates of bonds and review of coupon rates, which were determined by government, the debtor would lead to creditors losing the value of their investment.
And finally, on page 39, a senior manager of financial advisory at Deloitte Ghana, Dennis Brown, has also been commenting. He says that there's still a need for clarity on government's intentions. Quote, the announcement on its own brings some certainty about what government intends to do with its domestic bonds going forward, which is good for investors for purposes of planning and decision making. However, some clarity is still required on whether investors will have the option of immediately liquidating their investments or will be forced to roll over onto the new program, which is the question you were asking yesterday. If I want to collect the thing now, what happens?
Well, Marcus Ibeyebo, a former MP for New Job in South, has lauded the launch of the government's domestic debt exchange program, but he says it is not deep enough. Now, this story is on citynewsroom.com, and Marcus Ibeyebo is quoted from his interview with Umar Sandamadu yesterday on Eyewitness News. He says, quote, I will even say that the exercise has not been deep enough because from what we are hearing, individual bondholders are excluded and there are no haircuts on the principal, as it were. And there have been some concessions, if you like. So I think this is the softer way to go, end quote. Other stakeholders who are interested in all of this, the TUC, they are also saying that they are concerned about the government's failure to engage labor unions before launching the domestic debt exchange program. TUC says it was gravely concerned, over the government's program because of its potential negative impact on workers' pensions. The TUC's reactions followed the government's move to rely on a softer payment plan with institutions and individuals who have lent money to the country as part of efforts to reduce the burden the public debt stock puts on the economy. Now, in a statement signed by the Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Yalba, the union bemoaned the lack of prior engagement with labor, given that a substantial portion of workers' pensions are invested in government bonds. So it looks like this conversation is not dying out anytime soon.
Not at all. Meanwhile, let me take you to the Chronicle. There's a story there on fuel prices tumbling at the pumps, but for some reason, Jepretu of Talk is refusing to reduce fares when you go to the lorry stations. Now, Maxwell Ofori, writing for this newspaper, says the country has for some days now witnessed a considerable decline in the prices of petrol and diesel. However, the commercial transport operators in the country have turned a blind eye to the problem or the development. Transport unions, which advocate for increases in fares, however, fuel prices. Let me take that again. Transport unions, which advocate for increases in fares whenever fuel prices are increased, are yet to act upon the reduction, which is inconsistent with the agitations whenever there is an increase. Now, in the last quarter of this year, transport fares have increased astronomically on the back of a 40% initial proposal from the operators. Though 15% was the final adjustment, the cumulative increase moves the percentage higher within the last 2 months. And then he goes on to give you details of some of the fares you have to pay when you're traveling across the city. And they are demanding that there should be a reduction of fares to reflect the prices at the pump.
Let me give you an update from the Atuasian case on page 4 of the Finder newspaper. Of his Darkon reports that documents cited by the paper, that's the Finder, indicate that former Chief Executive Officer of Defence Capital Bank, William Atuasian, has agreed to pay 32 million Ghana cedis as reparation, interest and restitution on 57 million Ghana cedis. This will bring the total amount of principal as well as reparation, restitution and interest to 90 million Ghana cedis. Atuasian is standing trial with Reverend Fitzgerald Odonko, a former managing director of Capital Bank, and Teteneti, MD of MC Management Services, a company allegedly owned by ACN. They don't go to provide some more details.
I hope that law that they are quoting, Section 35 of this new legislation, does not become
of Act 459.
Yeah, that's right. For doing all kinds of deals that would not be in our very interest. Look, we should be careful how we use that law. It's. I don't think that the purpose was to create an avenue for people to be getting out of trouble merely by taking the money and paying it back, and everybody's happy. I don't think if somebody goes to the village and steals one bunch of agbali, agbali, cassava, you don't give it back and say that because I've given it back, there's no problem. We should be careful with that.
Okay, all right. Well, let me give you another story. On page 8 of the same newspaper, 1,525 years pass out under Ye's community police assistance model. I'm reading this story because of something. I'll tell you why. There's about 1,525 community police assistants yesterday passed out at the Ghana Police Training School at Tesano, following 1 week of intensive training. The CPAs who were selected from the Western, Central, and Greater Accra regions formed the initial batch of 15,000 CPAs who are expected to be recruited between now and January 2023. On which budget? The commanding officer of the National Police Training School, Deputy Superintendent of Police, Awolesido Kanta, advised the recruits to be civil at all times in dealing with the police while respecting and protecting human dignity. So he also stated that the trainees had been taken through community policing, criminal investigation and preservation of evidence, domestic violence, and several other subject areas in their week-long training. In 1 week, they learned all this?
Probably they are AI, artificial intelligence.
They are smart guys. They are smart people. All right, just on the note of recruits and all of that, the Health Minister, Kwekwa Jimameno, and this story is on citynewsroom.com, has revealed an imminent bilateral agreement between the government of Ghana and the British government to send Ghanaian trained nurses to the UK in exchange for financial considerations. According to Mr. Jimamenu, this will be similar to an already existing arrangement with the Barbados, where he said Ghanaian nurses were excelling. The MP for Doma Central made this known on the floor of Parliament during the 2023 budget debate yesterday.
Okay, let me take you to the New Crusading Guide. There's a story on page 3. Government needs $68 million in addition to what it has already expended on the Saglemi project in order to complete it. And the story says that the Saglemi affordable housing project requires an investment of approximately $68 million to complete. Now, this would enable the project take care of other essential on-site infrastructure works like waste holding bay, sewage treatment plant, development of socio-economic and civic infrastructure, basic school, clinic, shops, etc. Now, information indicates that it is only through these investments that the housing units in Saglemi can be habitable and self-sustaining, considering its location. Now, the Saglemi Affordable Housing Project was initiated in 2012 for the delivery of 5,000 housing units at a total cost of 200 billion. Is that billion or million? Because, is it? No. Okay, so how many zeros here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9.
That's billion.
Billion. 200 billion? No. It can't be. No, anyway, maybe my eyes are... No, hold on. Maybe I'm misleading the people.
They say that actually it's $68 million. Yeah, that's 200
billion?
No, 200 million. It's 200 million. Yes, it's $200 million. And let me take you to graphic business on page 21. The Ministry of Food and Agriculture is in the news, and they say they are assessing the impact of their food market intervention. So the story set by Benjamin Honam Glover says that the ministry has started collecting data to enable it to measure the impact of the PFJ food market intervention. That, the ministry explained, would help them identify gaps and develop recommendations to improve on the intervention and scale it up to other urban areas outside the Greater Accra region.
Okay. If you go to the business analyst, there's an interesting story, refreshing one. Ghanaian wins 2022 Young Woman Engineer of the Year in the UK. And the story says a Ghanaian, Mrs. Dr. Amma Frimpong, has won the Young Woman Engineer Award for the year 2022 in the UK. Now, the IET's Young Woman Engineer of the Year awards are prestigious engineering industry awards that celebrate women working in modern engineering. Now, the awards aim to help change the perception that engineering is predominantly a career for men by banishing outdated engineering stereotypes of hard hats and dirty overalls. This is what we should be celebrating, not the ones who are shaking all kinds of things on social media, which make the headlines.
And then finally, from my side, let me give you some World Cup news on the back page of the Daily Guide. They have a story from Kofi Uzodunum on why Coach Otado resigned, and then Portugal trainer blast Ronaldo for sub-reaction. Apparently, Ronaldo has not been behaving well. And then France coach bans jewelry. Jules Koundé was seen wearing a full gold chain. And according to the coach, so this is Didier Deschamps, he says Koundé shouldn't have started the game with that on. I don't know what he has on the necklace. Okay. But I know he's superstitious. And he wears it at training too. Hey, but that be
from the squad that we are told, some what do you call it? Mbappe has been targeted by Pogba and all that.
And he said since day that I shouldn't have won it. I won the milk. But is the sports minister back in town?
I don't know. We have to look for him. Because we have a long list of questions for him.
We have plenty of questions to ask him.
Samuel Kufotu says we shouldn't blame anybody.
So who should we blame?
He says we shouldn't point fingers.
Well, what does that mean? No.
We are looking for the sports minister. That is all.
We should find
solution. But if you don't blame, you don't find the people responsible. How do
I'm only telling you what Samuel says.
Okay. So in finding the solution, we are looking for the sports minister.
Okay, you will find it.
Is he back yet?
I will find out.
The people come.
I don't know if they will come, but I just say they will come today.
But what? So they will come back to Ghana or what?
No, some of the players.
They have already left.
I'll give you more.
But yesterday, why? Che was at the airport too. Charlie, nobody meet him.
Oh, Che. Oh, our handsome boy, Che.
He took some small Uber beer and then went to buy himself.
Oh, no, that's not cool. At least, Charlie, they are gone. Yeah, they have come back.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Godfred. Coming up next is the Citi Business News.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
We're sorry to interrupt this program for a breaking news story. Information reaching us is that the whole country has been thrown into a state of joy and excitement about the new look of Total Energies lubricant.
What do you get when you mix the best DJs in the country, the most amazing live band sets, delicious cocktails, and wonderful food? Back-to-back hit music from Ghana's finest group, Prayer, and being serenaded by the brilliantly talented Aquabua. The biggest outdoor party, of course. Situation 2022. Are you ready to party? We are changing the situation on December 24, 2022 with the biggest outdoor party in Accra. The Situation Outdoor Party 2022. Let's wrap up the year in style with the most epic party to end all parties this Christmas Eve with Situation. Make your Christmas Eve come alive with the most incredible DJs who will keep you dancing all night long. Amazing live band sets and the crooner Aquabua. It is the perfect ingredient for the best party this festive season. Ain't no party like a city party, because a city party don't stop. This will be another one to remember. Date Saturday 24th December 2022. Venue La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, Accra. Time 8 p.m. Dress code, it's an all-white affair. For table booking, call 020-5973-973 or 055-8973-973. Book your table and make reservations now. Media partners, Ghana Weekend and Citi FM. This is powered by Citi TV. This is a Beyond the Return.
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the Go TV and Star Times box. Citi TV, it's your world.
Coming up next is the Citi Business News, brought to us by Access Bank. And Access Bank is partnering Graphic Communications to bring you the SME Fair 2022, happening this week, actually, 10 a.m. each day, Thursday 8th and Friday 9th December at the AMA Gardens. Come and see all kinds of products from a wide array of areas. And get them at heavily discounted prices. Call 0800 004 400 for more info. Access Bank, more than banking. And the Citi Business News is also brought to us by Enterprise Life, MTN, and Goyle. All right, let's get into the news. Nathan Quao is here. She has all the latest.
Welcome to the breakfast edition of Citi Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Goyle, Access Bank, more than banking, and powered by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. My name is Nathan Quao. Coming up, domestic debt exchange program would bring frustration on investors. This is according to former chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Dr. Mark Esibe-Yeboah, and Association of Ghana Industries advocates the use of post-production taxation to cushion businesses in the country. Let's settle for the details now. Former chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Dr. Mark Esibe-Yeboah, has noted that the domestic debt exchange program will further deepen the frustration investors are currently going through. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta on Sunday announced that domestic bonds from the beginning of this month will be exchanged for a set of 4 new bonds maturing in 2017, 2029, 2032, and 2037. Speaking to Citi Business News, Dr. Mark Esibe-Yeboah noted that the current arrangement was a much softer approach adopted by government compared to other options available to it.
So in a debt restructuring exercise, there is the domestic and then there is the external debt. Now, the information we have gathered so far is on the restructuring of the domestic debt. And I would even say that government, the exercise has not been deep enough because from what we are hearing, individual bond holders are excluded. There are no haircuts on the principal as it were. And there have been some concessions, if you like. So I think this is the softer way to go, if you like.
He called on government to further engage with stakeholders in order to get their buy-in amid the debt restructuring program.
I don't know the level of engagements that have gone on, but if this has been done well, you wouldn't see opposition coming from labor unions and the minority and the rest. But it's not too late because having announced, and this announcement had to come because you have to conclude the IMF staff level agreement. So having announced this, I would think the time is right for us to engage religious bodies, everybody involved, because this is a Ghana thing. So you can't go this alone. It's a Ghana thing. Whoever becomes president in 2025 will have to continue with this. And so we should all get it. I don't know the level of consultations or engagements that have gone on, but I would certainly advise that if we haven't done so, it's better late than never.
That was a former member of Parliament for New Durban South and former chairman of Parliament's Finance Committee, Dr. Mark Esibe-Yeboah. Meanwhile, Deputy Finance Minister John Kuma has assured that the markets will return to profitability after implementing the tough debt exchange program.
There's a difference between groups investment and individual investment. Treating them are not the same. The one thing too has to be clear that anytime we invest, there are two possibilities. You invest for a gain. Sometimes, even though it's unanticipated, you can invest to lose. And currently, the market is returning negative returns on the real values of their gains or their principals. So all that government is seeking to do is to help restore the market to sustainable levels where we can all be sure of long-term profitability to all investors. In the long term, yes, it's painful. We are going to lose some benefits that we anticipated to get out of the investment. In the short term, we may lose something. But in the long term, all these gains will be restored, and then we can all be back to enjoying the opportunities in the bond space.
John Kuma is a Deputy Finance Minister. The Association of Ghana Industries is calling on governments to move from pre-production taxation to post-production taxation as part of efforts to boost industrialization. According to the president of the association, Humphrey Eyim-Dake, the move will not only help enhance growth in the production sector, but also help that government generates more revenue through production taxation. He noted that this initiative will help cushion businesses in these harsh economic times. He's been speaking on the issue.
AGI has also requested a waiver of import duties on imported raw materials as part of the measures to enhance local production. And we are hoping that this will be implemented alongside the reversal of the benchmark discount value. The conversion of our standard rate VAT to a straight levy regime continues to be a disincentive to local manufacturing. AGI is urging the Ministry of Finance to reconsider this tax regime and its potential impact on local industries. Our advocacy has been pre-production tax impose serious constraints of cash flow on manufacturing, and AGI therefore proposes a post-production tax to offer some relief to manufacturers. For the Ministry of Finance to do this, we believe they need to deploy technology that is traceable to every producer so that they can structure their engagement and rake in the necessary fund revenue for government.
That was the president of the Association of Ghana Industries, Humphrey Eyim-Dake. Meanwhile, the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the association is admonishing the central bank to review its strategy of an upward adjustment in the policy rate as a measure to check inflation. He's of the opinion that the approach has over the period failed to address the challenge with inflation, currently standing at over 40% despite consistent hikes in the policy rate.
AGI is extremely concerned about the continuous increase of policy rates as a measure for dealing with inflation. This trend has been continuing for the past couple of months, if not years, and we believe that it's not yielding the desired result, and so the central bank should discontinue that approach of using increasing policy rates as a mechanism for dealing with inflation. Because as it is now, everybody knows that in spite of the increases we've seen in policy rate, inflation rate is still going up. So we can't continue to solve a problem that is not being solved with a measure that's not achieving the result we desire. So we are just appealing to central bank to consider the plight of the private sector and know that the more they increase, the more they crowd out private sector, the more we are unable to buy the loans that we need to be able to expand our production. So our appeal really goes to the central bank to really stop the increase in the policy rate, but at the same time reduce it for loans to be cheaper for our industries to flourish.
That was the Greater Accra Regional Chairman of the Association of Ghana Industries, Chunam Akpelu. The Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana says the ban on the exportation of grains is having an impact on the activities of investors within the sector. According to the Chamber, the universal ban by government will deprive these off-takers of their investments and farmers the needed support. Speaking to Citi Business News, lead agribusiness consultant with the Chamber, Kojo Ahiakpa, urged government to give exemptions to legitimate investors in the grains subsector.
In as much as there's a ban that has been placed on the grain as a commodity, unfortunately, the ministry itself who issued the ban have given permission to certain businesses and certain entities to be able to export grain out of the country in contravention to their own ban. And if that is going to be the case, we do not think that government need to hold that generalist and universalist approach to banning such exports. We also have stakeholders and also members of our associations who are off-takers. In other words, they are financiers. They finance the production of this produce. And then they finance it with a hope of taking the product to pay off their investment. And then when you come out with such a wholesome ban, what is happening is that you are going to kill their investment, and you are also going to stop assistance and support that these people, these financiers and stakeholders could render to the farmers. Government alone cannot do it all. And so we need such business and such investment to be protected. We are doing legal business. And so we think that the ban is not a ban in itself, but
That was a lead agribusiness consultant at the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana, Kuju Ahiakpa. Now on the interbank foreign exchange market, where banks trade amongst themselves, the dollar remained unchanged and is selling at 13 cedis 11 pesos. The British pound also remained unchanged and is selling at 16 cedis 1 peso. The euro gained 6 pesos and is selling at 13 cedis 81 pesos. However, at some forex bureaus, the dollar is selling at 14 cedis 75 pesos, the British pound at 17 cedis 85 pesos, and the euro at 15 cedis 55 pesos. Let's now join Gideon Amonichi of Data Bank for the latest updates on the bonds market.
Last week, the Ghanaian Treasury took up 2.75 billion Ghana cedis out of total bids worth 2.77 billion Ghana cedis submitted at the auction for the 91-day and 102-day bills. The accepted bids exceeded the auction target by 48% and maturing bills by 70%. The 91-day yield closed the auction 64 basis points higher to 36.18%, while the 102-day yield advanced by 35 basis points to 36.73%. Trading activity on the Ghanaian secondary bond market slowed down, with total market turnover amounting to 2 billion Ghana cedis. The Databank bond index increased 0.05 week on week, narrowing the year-to-date loss to 22.09%.
That was Gideon Amonichi of Data Bank. And that does it for the breakfast edition of Citi Business News, proudly brought to you by MTN, Goil and Access Bank More Than Banking, empowered by your most comprehensive business news website, citibusinessnews.com. My name is Netelinete Ajahu. Have a good business day.
A rise it me. A rise increment in my salary.
Have
This
you
is
missed
all I
any business news this week?
I will appeal to the banks that it is not enough to show fat profits at the end of the year, publish them in the newspapers, and feel good.
Are you looking for a way to consume business news without getting lost in all of the technical language? Well, for our traders down here, all they care about is the fact that this could likely affect the cost of doing business.
We used to pay an average of 3,000 somewhere in November. Now it has shoot as much as $12,000 for a 40-footer container.
Business Weekly brings you all the top business stories of the week in an exciting manner.
Business Weekly, Sundays at 3 p.m. only on Citi TV.
Well, so, are you ready? Let's go. Hi, have you missed any business news this week?
I will appeal to the banks that it is not enough to show fat profits at the end of the year, publish them in the newspapers, and feel good.
There are those with untold stories, unraveled feats, life-changing stories, and lasting legacies. They tell their stories themselves on footprints. Yes.
Oh, at some point, well, we are taking the step. Unfortunately, you were dragging the country into an abyss.
Yeah.
So we saw it. But they have held power, the guns and so forth. Who were we to? We just watched. But by, I believe, 74-5, the country was seeing through him that this man was a total misfit.
But he was a happy man.
But because in Akan, there's a proverb.
Be inspired by their hard work and resilience that led to their outstanding achievements as we trace their footsteps through time.
Lincoln, we have one of our, school member died or whatever, so we have to go there and perform during the funeral, whatever. And then I was feeling thirsty, so there was a. But those days, it's not like pure water or whatever. They sell the water in the bottle. Yeah, stuff like that. So there was a bottle there. I thought it was just a water. No, it was aquateshi, So I just took it when I drank it, before I realized, Charlie. So what happened to me, I was like, Charlie, I've never touched it. So since then, I've never touched alcohol.
Okay, so you didn't drink alcohol, and you never smoked?
Smoked, no way. No.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
Never.
Then who comes out of the car? Chachu Chikata and Kojo Chikata. And the Chachu told me that they have.
And their branches are open, so you can go and update your records with your Ghana card. Remember that the Ghana card is now the only accepted ID for all financial transactions. Send a WhatsApp message to 0574065958 or 0302-208-333. The shareholder, let's improve lives. Benjamin Nketiah is back in the jurisdiction, fresh from Doha, with a box full of goodies. Probably thinks we won't ask him what he brought. He lied. We'll ask him, pa. He's going to enjoy the goodies in Qatar. Oh, let's get into kickoff. Benjamin Nketiah is here.
Kickoff is proudly brought to us by Lechejo. In the headlines, FIFA opened disciplinary procedure against Uruguay over their conduct following their final game of Group H with Ghana. Brazil and Croatia through to the quarterfinals of the World Cup, and in the NBA there were wins for the Mavericks, the Thunder, and the Clippers. And let's get to the World Cup, and let's begin with action from last night. And let's get to this one. Five-time world champions Brazil, they were in splendid form last night as they beat South Korea by 4-1 in their round of 16 tie in the 2002 FIFA World Cup. Now, the Brazilians they opened the score in the 7th minute through Vinicius Jr. and then went on to add 3 more goals from Neymar, Richarlison, and Lucas Paqueta before the first half ended. Now, let's get to some reaction from that particular game. They will face Croatia in the last 8 of the tournament after the Croats beat Japan by 3-1 on penalties in their round of 16. Maya Yoshida plays for Japan, and he has been reacting following their defeat to Brazil.
We did everything we know that we can do. We could do. We're a great team. We showed a great spirit, performance through the Euro tournament. We took Germany, Spain, and the playoff to extra time against the finalists for previous World Cup. I'm very proud of my team. I'm proud of my teammates, even the people in the stadium, people watching on TV all around the world. I'd like to thank you to all, but very difficult to accept.
So you heard Maya Yoshida speaking there. Let's now get to the camp of South Korea, who were thumped by 4-1 by Brazil. Let's get to the reaction. Let's hear from Son Heung-min. He is captain of South Korea.
No, we gave everything. Don't blame us like this. So I think it's the Brazilian, it's a favorite. They look at the players. If you give a one of the spaces, they score. I'm so proud of what they done, and I don't want to blame. Any of our players because they give everything. Look, I think what I said before. I'm so proud of what they did. I think it's the first World Cup. It's not easy to play when especially young guys and came on and playing from the start. I think, but they done great job for our country. I hope they don't stop to work, and I hope the young guys realize how important it is to play in the World Cup. So, I'm very proud. I'm very happy that young guys did so amazing job for the national team, for the country.
So you heard Son Heung-min, captain of South Korea there. Today, Morocco will face Spain, while Portugal will come up against Switzerland in the final round of 16 ties. Let's get to the camp of Ghana's Black Stars, and former Black Stars head coach Otto Addo has urged Ghanaians to throw their weight behind the current team. Ghana exited the 2022 World Cup in Qatar in the group stage after losing their final game to Uruguay, much to the disappointment of many. Now, Otto Addo, who has left his coaching role with Ghana, believes the team has enough quality quality and is convinced they will do very well in future tournaments.
I'm very, very thankful to have worked with such a good and also group which is always willing to learn to improve themselves. Thank you to the players, thank you to the staff, thank you to the technical team, thank you to the board members who always supported us. And like I said, this is football, the ugly side of football, but if it's not where we wanted to go, it's definitely not the end. If we're not right now there where we wanted to go, and we wanted more, even though we made it and we wanted more, it's not the end. We have a young and talented group, and which needs support from every one of us, even in bad times. And I can just underline that the group is very, very good, and we need the support of all Ghanaians.
Former Black Stars head coach Otto Addo speaking there. Meanwhile, Black Stars attacking midfielder Mohamed Kudus says Ghana will learn from its mistakes at the World Cup.
Almost 90% of the guys is our first World Cup, and I think it's a big lesson for myself and a lot of the guys, and I know this will really make us tough and help our progress and lesson ahead. Very disappointing, but we stick together as a team and then look forward for what lies ahead. There's a lot of lessons in this tournament, but the feeling now is a big disappointment, but we look forward to what lies ahead.
Mohamed Kudus plays for Ghana's Black Stars and Ajax Football Club. Still with the Black Stars, former defender Samuel Osei-Kuffour has asked Ghanaians to stop blaming certain players for the country's below-par performance at the tournament. Baba Rahman, Andre Ayew and Jordan Ayew, among a few others, have come under lots of criticism for playing various parts in Ghana's early exit from Qatar 2022.
I will plead, please, we shouldn't even point fingers on each and every player or whoever did something wrong. I will still insist we should find a solution to our problems than to point fingers. It will not help. We all know that we want to go far. It's good for all of us when Ghana goes high. So I will still plead we should just take it easy with this young player that we call them. I can take the pressure. It's not everybody that can take the pressure. When I was playing, I hear everything in Germany, wherever critics here and there, I don't care. But know everybody who has that heart. These are the young ones. So please, let's just hold them into the high esteem.
Former Ghana defender Samuel Osei-Kuffour speaking there. Let's move on to some other news. And FIFA has opened disciplinary procedures against Uruguay's Football Association and 4 players over their conduct at the end of their final World Cup group game against Ghana. Uruguay beat Ghana by 2-0, but went out of goals scored, finishing third behind South Korea in Group H. Now, Uruguay's players reacted furiously at full time, confronting the referee and appearing to manhandle an assistant after they failed to award a penalty after a coming together between Darwin Nunez and Alidu Seidu. Now, Jose Maria Jimenez, Edinson Cavani, Fernando Muslera and Diego Godin all face potential punishments for breaches of FIFA's code relating to offensive behavior and misconduct. The Uruguayan FA faces action for the same breaches of the code as well as another relating to discrimination. So that's what's going on with the World Cup. Let's get to some more World Cup news. And England winger Bukayo Saka has rejected the notion that he can be the next Kylian Mbappe as England prepare to take on France in the World Cup's quarterfinals this weekend. After beating Senegal by 3-0 over the weekend, England's next challenge is against the reigning world champions, spearheaded by talisman Mbappe in attack. Now, 4 years ago at the World Cup in Russia, Mbappe was just 19 years old when he helped France to win the title, winning the FIFA Young Player of the Tournament for his 4 goals scored. When Saka was asked if he feels like he's having a similar tournament to the France 4 years ago, the 21-year-old had this to say.
I think there's only one Kylian Mbappe, and at the same time there's only one me. You know, I just want to be myself and help my team in the best way I can. You know, there's a lot of young players in this tournament. I can name so many, and even in our team, you know, there's another young player alongside us doing unbelievably well, and Jude Bellingham as well. So I'm just happy that we're all here, we're all doing well. Our priority is to try and win the tournament rather than be the player of the tournament or young player of the tournament, like you said.
So you heard England winger Bukayo Saka speaking there. To some other news, and Poland captain Robert Lewandowski has refused to confirm if he has played his last ever game at the World Cup following his side's 3-1 defeat to France on Sunday in the last 16. Lewandowski scored a late consolation from the penalty spot for a Poland side who were outclassed by the French attack in Doha. The Barcelona striker will be almost 38 by the time the next World Cup comes around in North America in 2026, but he says issues beyond his physical condition will determine whether he will be able to play or not. So that's what's going on as far as the World Cup is concerned. Let's finish off with some NBA. The Phoenix Suns were up against the Dallas Mavericks, an old enemy. The Dallas Mavericks winning this one easily, 130-111. The Clippers won by 1 possession against the Hornets. The Bucks were up against the Orlando Magic. The Bucks winning on the road 109-102. The OKC Thunder also won on the road against the Atlanta Hawks. The Boston Celtics continue to be impressive, beating the Raptors on the road, and then the Sixers losing to the Rockets. The Memphis Grizzlies were up against the Heat. They won that one 101-93. The Golden State Warriors lost at home, this time to the Indiana Pacers. 112-104 is how that game ended. That's all for this morning's edition of Kickoff. My name is Benjamin Nketia. Kickoff was brought to us by Lesheho. There's more sport at citysportsonline.com.
Trust the process. The biggest things.
What do you get when you mix the best DJs in the country, the most amazing live band sets, delicious cocktails, and wonderful food? Back-to-back hit music from Ghana's finest group, Prayer, and being serenaded by the brilliantly talented Aquabua. The biggest outdoor party, of course. Situation 2022. Are you ready to party? We are changing the situation on December 24, 2022 with the biggest outdoor party in Accra. The Situation Outdoor Party 2022. Let's wrap up the year in style with the most epic party to end all parties this Christmas Eve with Situation. Make your Christmas Eve come alive with the most incredible DJs who will keep you dancing all night long. Amazing live band sets and the crooner Aquabua. It is the perfect ingredient for the best party this festive season. Ain't no party like a city party, because a city party don't stop. This will be another one to remember. Date Saturday 24th December 2022. Venue La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, Accra. Time 8 p.m. Dress code, it's an all-white affair. For table booking, call 020-5973-973 or 055-8973-973. Book your table and make reservations now. Media partners, Ghana Weekend and City FM. This is powered by City TV. This is a Beyond the Return event. What do you get when you mix the best DJs in the country? The most amazing.
There are those with untold stories, unraveled feats, life-changing stories, and lasting legacies. They tell their stories themselves on footprints. Yes.
Oh, champion. Well, we are taking the step. Unfortunately, he was dragging the country into an abyss. Yeah. So we saw it. But they held power, the guns and so forth. Who were we to? We just watched. But by, I believe, 74-5, the country was seeing through him. That this man was a total misfit.
But he was a happy man.
But because in Akan there's a proverb. It's a kwasia na no so nsu so chati.
Be inspired by their hard work and resilience that led to their outstanding achievements as we trace their footsteps through time.
Lincoln, we have one of our, school member died or whatever, so we have to go there and perform during the funeral, whatever. And then I was feeling thirsty, so there was a but those days it's not like pure water or whatever. They sell the water in the bottle. Yeah, stuff like that. So there was a bottle there. I thought it was just a water. No, it was aquateshi, you know. So I just took it when I drank it, you know, before I realized, Charlie. So what happened to me? I'm like, Charlie, I've never touched. So since then, I've never touched alcohol.
Okay, so you didn't drink alcohol, and you never smoked?
Smoke, no way. No.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
Never.
Then who comes out of the car? Chachu Chikata and Kojo Chikata. And the Chachu told me that they have, Kojo was sick since the morning and he has been tortured and whatnot, and they have come for medical attention. Of course, naturally, I have to look after them, even though they are very close relatives. So I look at Kojo, I examine him, I notice that he's definitely been tortured. And, there was blood, deep-seated blood in the ears. You can see that clearly.
So join me, Samuel Atamensa, and my guests every Saturday at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m. for Footprints, only on Citi TV. There are those with untold stories.
Hi, have you missed any business news this week?
Our appeal to the banks that it is not enough to show fat profits at the end of the year, publish them in the newspapers, and feel good.
Are you looking for a way to consume business news without getting lost in all of the technical language? Well, for our traders down here, all they care about is the fact that this could likely affect the cost of doing business.
We used to pay an average of 3,000 somewhere in November. Now it has shoot as much as $12,000 for a 40-footer container.
Business Weekly brings you all the top business stories of the week in an exciting manner.
Business Weekly, Sundays at 3 p.m. only on Citi TV.
Well, so, are you ready? Let's go.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show. Sending your messages on 0549 986 996. Few birthday messages coming in. This one says, "My Dion, my gem, you are a wonderful soul, kind-hearted, gentle, ever-loving. I thank God for your life. And I thank him for ushering you to the 4th floor where it is said life begins. Thanks for making me a part of this journey. I celebrate you, your first son, Jasper." So that's the message that's coming. This one says, "Please wish Mrs. Claire Asigri Sabla. A happy birthday from Reverend Wale Adeoye Famosa of Primus Advertising.
Wale. I wish her many happy returns of today as she celebrates the big 40. Welcome to the 4th floor, madam. May God continue to bless her with good health and a sound mind in Jesus' mighty name.
Amen. This one says, happy birthday to the party prefect, giftee, and Saba Polly of Mount Olivet Methodist Church in Dansoman. That's coming from Nana Arba Arthur. All right, this one... Okay, it says, please wish my wife, my best friend, and my business partner, my one true love, Ruth Esaba Kofi, happy birthday. She's the best wife and mother from our lovely daughters in Kunim and Nunyam Dromo and I, Mark Kofi.
Have you done the Latemingo one?
No.
So this one is from a lady says, Benna, please wish my husband, Mr. Emmanuel Latemingo, a wonderful birthday. May the Lord keep you and make his face shine upon you. May he satisfy your soul with long life and prosperity from Mrs. Monica Kwansamingo and the children.
Sky, so this one that I read, Ruth Sabakofi, somebody says, okay, the last bit says her wish is for Richard Sky to give her a special laugh.
Yeah, that be the whole matter.
This one says, kindly wish Mr. Abdul Majid Rufai, Senior Manager, Fintech Commercial MML.
Yes, please.
Belated birthday.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Yes, please. Rufai.
Yeah.
Rufai Abdul Majid. Oh, my God. MTN Momo.
Yes.
The Momo.
Former school captain.
The Momo that people.
What you say? You see your life. You could have been there. You are here selling Momo. See your life.
This one now they play football.
See your life. Our parents didn't know.
If they knew.
If they knew what you could have been. I see small spot. I say, look at your stomach. Look at you. You used to be one of the best footballers ever. And you are selling Momo.
I want your friend. Rufai. This was a happy birthday to
the funny thing, he has daughters too. They're not into football. The talent has just been wasted.
Happy birthday to Esther AJ at Smith Head Office.
You should train them.
May God continue to bless you. That's a message from Ninoy.
Well, Benna, please wish my father, Samuel Brima, a happy 60th birthday. Coming in from your daughter, Eunice Atugba. And of course, those who know you and love you, Mr. Samuel Brima. Enjoy your 68th. And may you prosper beyond redemption. May you prosper beyond redemption.
That'll be deadly.
If you want to see Sky laugh, come to Situation.
Brutal.
We'll record his laughter and put it on the mic.
Thank you.
But you know that you can use your laughter to make money.
Tell me.
Because apart from Atongo, I think you have the best laughter.
Really?
No. I mean, Atongo used to laugh and people would just pay money. Oh yeah!
Thank you.
Just laugh for the people.
Don't collect the do.
You laugh in capital letters.
People say I don't get problem.
No, but you don't get problem. A whole lawyer, ambassador, plenipotentiary. You're a big man. Yeah, man.
Situation. What is happening on
the way the Christmas is hot, somebody said he wants them to postpone the Christmas from 24th, then we'll move to 1st January.
Finish.
So 2022, it ends on 24th. Then from there we move
January.
Yeah, so the only day you have is 24th. Because we don't have money for Christmas and the rest. So let's do 24th. When we finish that one, then we move to New Year. So it's happening on the 24th of December. La Palm Royal Beach Hotel.
Thank you.
8 p.m.
Yes.
You have to wear white.
All white.
Not off-white.
It's white. Proper white.
Yes. White. I had a friend who's doing a funeral. They're supposed to say they've bought black, so they are coming with their black. And I said no. The man said the man in Father Grow where he died, so it'll be white they wear. When they're supposed to say no, we saw the black. Wear the black before wear. So it makes matter. So this one we are talking white. Don't come and wear black and white. No, don't wear wear white.
It should be white.
Yes,
white.
Not the one which has gone.
If you like, put parasol on it.
If they say, I cannot go on. If they say the thing gone. So if I use blue, take soak out.
Make it clear proper.
If you use blue.
Yeah, blue thing in there.
What is the science behind blue?
People use it on their cars.
I'm telling you, people have been putting blue on their white cars. So if your white jeans is gone, soak it in blue.
Yeah, blue. They give a proper.
Soak it in too much blue too.
We want it pure white. Okay. Then, the white part that I like is white shoe. When you get like Kambu, which is white, you can only wear it once. If you live in some part of Accra, so that white.
That is what the Motongale.
You don't wear it. You don't wear it from home. You keep it in your bag. When you get to the office, then you wear it because it's too white. But because the road is dirty, so. Put out your white shoe. Let's put it on top of the chair.
Thank you.
And then your white jeans and your white top. And then 24th, come and see something.
Yes.
Now there are two things involved. One is called Aquabua, and the other one is called what? There are only two things involved. In life there are only two things.
Yes.
You're either a man or you're a woman.
Thank you. If you're a man,
you're safe. So there are only two things involved. It's either prayer or it's aquaba.
There are only three actually.
Okay, the third one.
Chin band.
Oh, but the chin band, they are supporting everybody.
Winner stay.
So there are two things involved. And the phone numbers too, there are two. So the phone numbers are also two. So it's either 0205 973 973 or 055. So it's 0558 973 973. So there are only two issues.
Thank you.
It's either 0205 or 0558 because the rest is 973 973. So let's hear prior small to just remind people of what we are saying.
What they are capable of.
What they have done in the past and what they promised to do. Hey, my God.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
You'll be hearing this and a lot more.
So the whole thing is that it's a fight, it's a party.
Yeah,
and there are different issues. There's the platinum.
Thank you.
For the big boys. There's the diamond.
big boys.
For the semi-big boys.
Yeah, we are the big boys.
Yeah, the big boys. Then there's the gold. We should give Katie an award, by the way.
Thank you.
For parliamentary service. There's the gold,
yes,
which is the third level.
That's right.
Then there's the silver. Now you need to book a seat. It's not like you can't just walk and say I've come. You have to book a table
in advance.
So when you can look at your number and say you sit down here, and you can decide what you want to eat: small chops, pork, yam, drink, whatever.
Thank you.
The key table comes with
different things. Yes, so there are tables based on your size, based on your pocket, based on your eating capacity,
based on your peppermint.
So you have to book the thing, so that when you come, you can walk gently. It's not going to queue and run and say no. You can come at whatever time you want. 0558 973 973, and then the other one is 0205 973 973. Call and book, particularly for those who have relatives coming from different parts. You don't know, they say, Charlie, we are coming. When they come, it's like the whole Christmas, everything, they want to do something. And they have money to burn. And they think that they just want to.
They just want to enjoy themselves.
Now, add situation to the itinerary. And tell them that this one, they should just bring white when they are coming.
That's all.
But they should buy one for you. The Kambu they are bringing, to bring one. That's all.
On this note, I have a friend who is back from the UK.
He didn't bring anything.
No, he's brought something.
What did he bring?
His name is Agajagozi Spakolo.
How do you remember a name like this?
Agajagozi Spakolo.
Spakolo. No, Uncle Ken.
How did he get a visa? Agajagozi Spakolo.
Thank you.
When did he come?
No, he came back like 3 days ago. He's in town.
Yes.
And certainly,
yes,
he's coming to situation.
You know, we have to
with white sneakers.
Powerful.
We have to do a special program for the people who come from abroad. They bring a lot of dollars, pounds. And Charlie said, "Oh, you're coming. Don't melt it to see this. Bring the dollars. Please, put the legally allowable number of dollars in your pocket and come. Don't say we don't.
No, we now we
know what to do.
We know what to do.
And we will go home to our home.
Somebody says mango, sugarcane, and palm should be added to the menu. I mean, there are many local juices that you can get. So I don't know. Maybe they will have a table for.
But the person's reference to sugarcane and palm juices are not your kind of juices. Do you know sugarcane and palm juice?
Is it palm wine?
This one is the case.
They are mixed. Is it the one they?
Is that local things?
So there's one known as focus. Yeah, so you get fufunha. You know that one.
That one. He's thinking about some juice. Sugarcane and palm things.
I went to a friend's house and he did sugarcane juice for you. It was really nice.
So this is not what we are talking about. So this
that one is different, Tama. This one is fufunha. You take him down.
Is it alcoholic?
Correct. Problem no day.
Is it alcoholic?
Oh yeah.
Sugarcane.
Then palm oil. The palm things. The palm and that one is the ha.
Palm wine.
Yeah, no. You see, palm wine is the fresh angle. But when you convert it into a different degree of things,
Alaska just like sweet things. People want to meet their face.
The thing is that the good thing is that you call, you inquire,
thank you
discuss your preferences to the extent allowable, to the extent possible. We'll make some whatever. That's why you have to book the thing.
Just book the thing.
Or you can carry your own sugar cane.
Just book the table because there will be things.
So when they call, who are they talking to? You know, there's this.
No, when you call, you hear a lovely lady's voice. It's called Madeleine. Yes, it's called Madeleine Wepia.
Yeah, Wepia.
Yes. Wepia with fire.
If you call 2 ways,
or if Wepia doesn't pick, then his name is Echo.
Okay.
Those are the two people.
Wepia.
I think there are two things involved. Is it Madeleine or Echo?
If it is Echo, you have it.
There are 2 things involved. Alright. So that's the situation outdoor party.
So and the thing is that we will be there. We will wear white and stand at the back.
Thank you.
Be greeting people. Yeah, we will just stand at the back and be greeting people.
Thank you.
So when you can, you meet us there.
Thank you. Directing affairs.
So please, it's called situation. And it starts with C.
Yeah.
It starts with C.
Yeah.
And we are serving notice to those of you who are coming to Ghana next week and things. Please bring Agbamakanu.
Agbamakanu.
You know Agbamakanu.
What is Agbamakanu?
You know Agbamakanu is, I don't know, like when somebody like when my mother traveled to the village, she has to bring something. So usually when she goes to the voter, she brings a bulu and 1,000.
Thank you.
If she travels and she doesn't bring
problem they have.
Something that means a challenge.
How can you travel? It's better I didn't travel.
I tried, they beat me here.
You got angry that they didn't bring you something.
Well, I'm not going to hear it. When me say, Charlie, keep quiet.
When you travel, say, what did you bring us? They don't want to know how you did. They say, what did you bring to us? So please, when you are coming, what are the new gifts they are bringing from abroad these days?
Oh, Charlie, these days, you know, chocolate is one of the things that people like bringing.
No, we don't want chocolate.
You don't want chocolate?
How can you travel to abroad and bring chocolate?
We make wild.
If you buy chocolate from any country and bring to Ghana, it means you are part of economic problem.
Okay, so what should they bring? Afokpa?
iPhone,
so
Kambu, the things we don't do in Ghana. How can you go to Switzerland and go and buy chocolate that we should eat in Ghana?
Bring some proper,
something, you know.
Bring iWatch or the Samsung equivalent.
Thank you.
iPhone,
tablets
or Samsung
tablet for the children to do their work.
Headset
or some Kambu. You know, Play-Doh. Play-Doh. The kids like Play-Doh. They play and they do those things. Bring those nice things. In the past, it used to be Walkman.
But Walkman time passed.
The first time my brother went abroad, I wanted a Walkman.
Walkman,
Walkman.
We're wearing
then there was something called Discman.
Discman, yes.
I wanted a Discman so bad. Discman. That business is even gone obsolete.
This is compact disc, sorry.
Yeah. And sometimes game.
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
If you don't have Nintendo, it means you're not that about. So sometimes when your friends they come to school, they are playing
Game Boy. The can use them small.
Nintendo. Nintendo.
All right.
But we are all equal.
Oh, yeah.
Those who have Nintendo, those who didn't have, we are all here.
Yeah, that's I bear advantage.
Alrighty.
Obey your advantage. Anyway.
Now embrace the freedom our forefathers paid the ultimate price for, the freedom to determine our destiny. ZPay's MoneyGram to Wallet gives you the freedom to choose when and where we should bring your money to you. Dial *270 hash to register. Chop, make a chop, be empowered. Now this season, GTP is giving you 5% discount when you make a bulk purchase of 50 or more fabrics for your organizations, church, employees, or clubs. Call Beatrice on 0204 389605 to enjoy your deal today and wow your stakeholders. Shop now to start saving. GTP Lifestyle.
Meanwhile, you can make life simple on the go. Pay the easy way with a Zenith card online or in store. That means you can either pay when you buy online or you can pay in the shop with the card. Now, you can pay for your Facebook ads. You can pay for Netflix. I know you have Netflix.
Yes.
For iTunes.
Thank you.
Amazon, subscription, online shopping, all the nice things you want in life. Now, it gives you the chance to enjoy discounts, experience safe, secure, and convenient card transactions, and so much more. So when you think payments, think Zenith. Zenith Bank in your best interest. Now, your favorite Verna water has become a basic staple to many Ghanaians. It's the #1 water brand in Ghana today. Now, the solid reputation of Verna was further amplified by the Ghana Medical Association during a facility tour by the executives. President of GMA, Frank Sribo, said that Verna water ranks among the best and safest bottled water on the market. Now, Verna water is a multiple award-winning brand.
Thank you.
Certified by ISO. Do you know ISO? And hazard analysis. Not the footballer. This is hazard analysis. And critical control point, also known as HACCP.
Thank you.
Verna water is approved and acknowledged by the FDA and the GSA. Verna water is produced by Twellium Industrial Company Limited, the pride of the Ghana beverage industry. Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, Ugo Flip is here to make your home ownership journey more realistic, more fun, and more affordable. Now, we are a real estate gaming company. We reward houses as prizes.
Hey, Charlie.
In 3 easy steps. Log on to www.ugoflip.com. Register with phone number or email address. Buy as many tickets as possible. Now, you can win a house at Pram Pram or weekly game prizes or one of our many consolation prizes. Now, what makes us unique is that even if you don't win the ultimate prize, which is a house, we reward you with a loyalty point equivalent to $3 per ticket.
Wow.
These points, when accumulated, may be used as a down payment towards buying your next home. It's an innovative approach.
Thank you. Thank you.
Rising on a property ladder.
That's the whole. So that you will also be a landlord.
That's the whole story.
In the meantime, Clement and Co are making application for alumni, something.
Alumni discount.
No, they say they want a whole table.
Alumni table.
Yeah, for the whole
alumni table.
Thank you. So that when they come, they will wait for that.
Are they coming with their families or they are coming as alumni?
Well, you never know because it's a combination of so many things.
Abekoshiga, those people, they want to come.
Yeah, they just want to come and wedge it.
As an alumnus?
Yeah, they did that.
For situation?
Problem no day.
Okay.
Problem no.
I will discuss it with the authorities.
Thank you.
Yes. So, if you call the number, so we have added one more person to the phone number.
Okay. So it's now 3 things.
There are 3 things involved. There's Priscilla too is on the phone.
Priscilla.
Yes.
Hey.
So that one, Charlie.
Priscilla International.
I tell you. The great evangelistic Priscilla is also on the phone. So when just because say please, Aloski said I should call for ticket. How much is it? Yeah. When you use that code, you get discount. Aloski said
promo code.
When you use the name Aloski, you can open doors. Aloski said for call. Yeah. So 0205 973 973 or 0558 973 973. Show me. So Nathan, I think that after yesterday's program and all the dead things, I feel we need to clarify a few points. And I think there are 3 interviews or voice clips that help to break things down. Yesterday, Theo Champion was on Point of View with Salom. He did a really good job in his analysis. Dear champions, you know, I like how some of our public intellectuals are helping when it comes to energy, finance, and economics. So Theo was on the point of view, Toma Emi was on the point of view, and Abena Osiasa was on the point of view. Then we also had Sam Arkest. Now, when we were ending the show yesterday, Sam Arkest was directed by the Minister of Finance to answer all the questions. And in fact, the points that were being raised here about who an individual investor was and all of that,
he raised it there.
Sam answered those questions. So I feel if you can listen to Sam Arkest's explanation, then we'll listen to Theo, and if possible, Thoma, then it will give you a more rounded view of this debt exchange matter. So, Nathan, who do we have first?
Well, we have Arkest.
Sam Arkest.
Sam Dankwa Arkest.
He's the
Chief Economics Officer and Director of Treasury and Debt and Treasury at the Finance
I'll tell you something
Ministry.
about Sam later. I'll tell you something about Sam later.
Don't tell me he went to Presec.
No, he didn't. I don't know. What it's more to do with the class he graduated in, the economics class, and the pool he produced in Ghana. I've never seen such a thing before.
That class is crazy, eh?
I mean, how do you call it? It's per capita. That class, that economic. I don't know what Professor Braniaku did that year.
But everybody was in there.
Maxwell Opoku Afari, Deputy Governor. Sam Arkest. Fifi Kwete. Ebenezer Asante. Johnson Esiama. Peter Quote. Hey. They were all in that class.
Wow. Peter Quote.
One class.
Charlie.
As they say in Anyumo. Okay, there's a meaning cable. The list has some of the Ebenezer Asante MTN.
Yes, I know.
Fifi Kwete NDC. Peter Quote Ise
Director.
Johnson Esiama, he used to be a YFM former deputy governor. Maxwell Opoku Afari, deputy governor. And then this man himself. There are a few more. I forget the names. They are like, I don't know how.
Loaded class then.
Yeah, they are all doing something. They are all, I don't know. You know, maybe that year he decided that he was going to teach them something. You know, there are teachers can decide some years that Charlie, this year everybody will become something.
No, but there are also years where teachers are also teachers are also lucky to come across a batch of students who are all gifted. We'll start with Toma.
Yeah, let's start with Toma.
Let's start with Toma. Toma and me here. He's a financial reporter with the Economy Times. I believe.
Big man.
He's a big man. So he also shared his thoughts on the government's debt exchange program.
Yes.
I knew it was going to happen. It was inevitable. It's been inevitable for years.
In this form.
Yes. I mean, look, I've said in this particular studio time and again that we'll be using the wrong measurement of our indebtedness by using debt to GDP as against revenues to debt servicing requirements. It was clear that eventually Ghana would run into trouble because the servicing of the debt was taking up too much of our revenues. And that is why now we're having to resort to this situation. It was inevitable. I've said again that it was like a pyramid scheme, especially for the forex aspect of our domestic debt. We are taking money from Paul, a foreigner, and simply borrowing a large amount from Peter to pay off Paul plus his interest. Then you now go to John and take off a big amount to cover Paul's money plus the interest. It was like a pyramid scheme. And eventually we will run into trouble because we were taking off too much of our revenues were going into the debt servicing. So, I mean, I've known for years that eventually we'll get to this stage. So it was inevitable. But you see, the thing is that, politicians being who they are, this entire problem didn't start from this government. Let's be fair about this. It started right from immediately after we got to hippie completion point and we had a lot of debts written off and we started going to the international markets. All right, and we now opened out CD-denominated bond market to foreigners. We had a situation where we knew we were going to get to a stage where we would not be able to, our markets would be closed to us because we were too indebted. But each government was like, I would take and please the electorate. It will not be on my watch that we'll get to this stage. That was the cynical approach every government took, including this incumbent administration. What went wrong with this incumbent administration was, and that's why they keep blaming COVID, was that COVID now accelerated the process. They thought this problem would arise in the government after them. They had done their maths and calculated that this problem would arrive at the government after them. Then COVID accelerated the process, and we got to the unsustainability level before they left power. That was the fact that they thought they could hide part of the debt, the energy legacy debt, the financial reform debt, and not make it part of our debt computations. But of course, with the IMF insisting that it was part, and I mean
and that pushed the debt to GDP ratio pushed it above 100%.
Yes, and with the IMF making it public that this was the real ratio. I mean, of course, the ratings agents and co, they would side with the IMF.
Yes.
Because, I mean, for the simple reason that no matter how you classify your certain aspects of your public debt, you can call it a memorandum issue, you can call it whatever you want. The fact is that aspect of the debt also has to be financed.
So is it of course, I know the IMF will want to see that your debt is sustainable before they step in for a program.
Yeah.
Will this be government's own initiative of, cleaning its house ahead of the IMF, or this was dictated by the IMF? Will you know?
It was government's. It was government. It had some prodding from the IMF, but it was government's own initiative. The IMF's position is that we cannot come in until you have shown us that your debt is sustainable. So what government now did was come up with a program that would now make the debt sustainable, which is what they have done here. Now they can now come to the IMF and say, look, this is what we have done. Our debt is now sustainable. So please, now let's talk.
I see. All right, me here. Thomas, so it doesn't appear to me as if the domestic bond holder...
So that was Thomas May here. He was on the point of view with Selom Adunu last night, giving his perspective and just bringing some context to all of this, painting the picture of how we essentially got here and why we're in this situation where the government is undertaking a debt exchange program. And debt exchange, I don't I mean, Bernard, tell me, is it just a name, or it actually is a step the government can take?
No, the whole thing is called a debt restructuring. So you can call it a debt exchange because we are exchanging old debt for new debt. So it's a term you coin, but the real name is a debt restructuring.
I see.
Some of which is domestic, which is what we are doing, and there's a foreign one. So the debt exchange is the name they've given because they are converting all their debt apart from T-bills and the individual debts, like people who borrow directly from government, converting all that into 4 main instruments. So they are coming, you are exchanging, giving you beauty for ashes. Yeah, it's an exchange program.
It's an exchange program.
It's not an international exchange, but it's a debt exchange.
It's a debt exchange. I see.
But for me, I think it's something that we have to explain for people to know what it means, inevitably to affect you. So we'll have to just give people the angles. So before that, though, let's find out what's trending.
Yep, Tech and Social Media Trends is here and is brought to us by Cowbank. Cowbank is saying that it's the season to stay connected. Reactivate your Cowbank account this holiday season to get more value. And you can visit their website, cowbank.net, or send an email, customercare@cowbank.net, or call them on 0800 500 500 to know more. Cowbank, for it together. Vodafone is also bringing up the segment, and they are saying take your entertainment to the next level with this new exciting partnership between Vodafone and Samsung. So between now and next February, just go to any Samsung shop, pick up a Samsung Smart TV, and get free Vodafone broadband installation. Also get up to 4 months free broadband data. Walk into any Vodafone store or any Electroland outlet and upgrade your home entertainment today. Vodafone, further together. Now the current thing is here. It's time for Tech and Social Media Trends. Mr. Granting is here.
He's the person behind the trend.
What trend?
Thank you, Dede. Are you?
Yeah, it's in the trends.
You tweeted that.
Yeah, it's in the trends.
Why were you thanking Dede? Are you?
Oh.
After the first 36 minutes of Brazil.
Charlie.
It's not a joke.
It's not a joke.
My Lord, oh my God.
It's not a joke.
I just in South Korea wanted to go home.
I'm telling you. They couldn't go. They come to ask.
You know the guy they do headings. Charlie. It's like you are playing small balls.
Do you know when I realized the team was a problem? When you are playing the knockout stage of a World Cup, you can afford to make a substitution
of a goalkeeper. That brings your third choice goalkeeper.
So that he can get a feel. Because this is the only opportunity he ever gets.
Brazil.
They brought the third choice goalkeeper to come and get a feel of the World Cup.
Now everybody.
So you know guess what?
Everybody has played. Brazil.
May they be knocked out in the next round.
I still think France will win anyway.
May they be knocked out in the next round.
France will defend their title.
Oh, Brazil, they are too good.
We wait to see.
No, they are too good. They are too good. And the
I think they took their leg off the break, eh?
Oh yeah, in the second half.
If you Korea,
can give them 8.
Korea, they are friends.
You can give them 8.
You say 8.
You can give them 8.
But I don't go on. Hey.
So you thank the day, are you?
We thank him.
For what?
We thank him.
For saving us.
Charlie, because he saw what was ahead. He said, my people, you are not prepared. Let's come back home. Let's regroup. Let's go back. Friend Limpo, they are giving you training first. They're competitive game. Hey! Anchor 7 first half. Oh, did he?
Try like it to be nasty,
I'm telling you. Samuel Eto'o is also in the trends.
Hey!
Yeah, he went to boot somebody. When they say boot, you understand? He boot the guy outside the stadium. Oh, he was taking selfies with Cameroonian fans, enjoying himself. Yes. Then this Algerian YouTuber came to him with his camera.
That what?
Asking him how much he paid the referee in the qualifier.
Oh!
That he bribed the referee. Now they said that since that qualifier, the World Cup qualifier, Algerians, anytime they see him in public, they've been shouting cheetah.
But what did he do?
Oh, Charlie.
But they scored a clean goal.
So Eto'o said, this one, they are
it's okay.
Let's settle the old way.
He boots the guy. First, he was doing somebody. You do like he's coming, then look at pata, hold me. Then you do like he's coming, then hold me. And so that no, this one.
You know the worst one. When you are fighting, you want them to pata.
You're not pata. That's the thing. The guy told you pata, so he was standing there, he was talking plenty.
See, no, the Finland.
No, they boot on the guy the floor. Hey! Now he was carrying his camera. He said, oh, Eto'o.
You mean American Mavalavu?
That's a very difficult situation. You go and instigate a fight thinking that they'll come and stop the fight. What is money? I won't part time here.
What is money?
They want pata, they are mayor. They are pata,
On that note, let me say a good morning to the Member of Parliament for Yendi.
What did he do? Farouk.
There she says hi.
That's the matter.
That's not the matter. See, they lock the door.
Last man standing.
You know, don't I said,
what be I said? I'm going
Let me do 30 years ago. Foxconn, the suppliers of Apple, yes, their revenue has gone down 11%.
Okay.
Yeah, so they are warning that if as a result of the Apple have warned that if you've ordered any iPhone 14, supply will delay.
Hey.
Yes, they said it's down to coronavirus restrictions. So, and we'll keep it.
I'm not affected. I'll keep this until it becomes challenging.
Now, second social media trends brought to us by Cowbank and Vodafone.
Babe, so what are we doing tomorrow?
Oh, I have to go to the bank and go and pay for the staff for my place. Then maybe back to the bank to transfer what's left to my brother. So,
are you serious? You're going to the bank twice in one day? Who is she? Eh? Which bank? Which branch?
Oh, babe, but...
Oh, don't babe me. What's her name? Tell her what. It's a new...
Make your life easy with Cowbank mobile banking. Just now.
There are those with untold stories, unraveled feats, life-changing stories, and lasting legacies. They tell their stories themselves on footprints. Yes.
Oh, at some point, well, we are taking the step. Unfortunately, he was dragging the country into an abyss. Yeah. So we saw it. But they have held power, the guns and so forth. Who were we to? We just watched. But by, I believe, 74-5, the country was seeing through him. That this man was a total misfit.
But he was a happy man.
But because in Akan there's a proverb. It's a kwasia na no so nsu a so chati.
Be inspired by their hard work and resilience that led to their outstanding achievements as we trace their footsteps through time.
Lincoln, we have one of our, school member died or whatever, so we have to go there and perform during the funeral, whatever. And then I was feeling thirsty, so there was but those days it's not like pure water or whatever. They sell the water in the bottle. Yeah, stuff like that. So there was a bottle there. I thought it was just a water. No, it was aquateshi, So I just took it. When I drank it, before I realized, Charlie. So what happened to me? I was like, Charlie, I'll never touch. So since then, I've never touched alcohol.
Okay, so you didn't drink alcohol, and you never smoked?
Smoked, no way.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
Never.
Then who comes out of the car? Chachu Chikata and Kojo Chikata. And Chachu told me that they have, Kojo was sick since the morning and he has been tortured and whatnot, and they have come for medical attention. Of course, naturally, I have to look after them, even though they are very close relatives. So I look at Kojo, I examine him, I notice that he's definitely been tortured. And, there was blood, deep-seated blood in the ears. You can see that clearly.
So join me, Samuel Atamensa, and my guests every Saturday at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 4 p.m. for Footprints, only on Citi.
What do you get when you mix the best DJs in the country, the most amazing live band sets, delicious cocktails, and wonderful food? Back-to-back hit music from Ghana's finest group, Prayer, and being serenaded by the brilliantly talented Akwabua. The biggest outdoor party, of course. Situation 2022. Are you ready to party? We are changing the situation on December 24, 2022 with the biggest outdoor party in Accra. The Situation Outdoor Party 2022. Let's wrap up the year in style with the most epic party to end all parties this Christmas Eve with Situation. Make your Christmas Eve come alive with the most incredible DJs who will keep you dancing all night long. Amazing live band sets and the crooner Akwabua. It is the perfect ingredient for the best party this festive season. Ain't no party like a city party, because a city party don't stop. This will be another one to remember. Date Saturday 24th December 2022. Venue La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, Accra. Time 8 p.m. Dress code, it's an all-white affair. For table booking, call 020-5973-973 or 055-8973-973. Book your table and make reservations now. Media partners, Ghana Weekend and Citi FM. This is powered by Citi TV. This is a Beyond the Return.
Adonai. Baruch haba Yerushalayim.
On 0549986996. Now, do people still hear that dull caller tone when they call you? Just dial star 1355 hash and let them enjoy a very interesting caller ringtone when they call you. Only on MTN. Now, life is complicated today. On top, tomorrow, everything comes crashing down. That's why you need a good backup plan to help you through all of that. And over the years, Phoenix Life and GUA Life have done that well. Now they've come together to form Impact Life Insurance Ghana, and they are giving you great and reliable, secure life cover. They've got the EduPlan, micro insurance, farewell policy, pension plan, and mortgage protection. Call 0243-690-442 or 0243-690-443 today. Impact Life, no worries. It's the end of the year and planning has already started for the festivities. Your shopping list is long, but your cash is short. SG Ghana is here to sort you out. Just spend 500 cedis or more when shopping for friends and loved ones and receive an attractive cashback reward. Call 0302-214-314 for details. Promo ends on December 31, 2022. Remember, with Societe Generale Ghana, the future is you.
Jerusalem, here I am.
All right, let's get back to hearing some more voices, giving you more perspective on the government's announcement to undergo a debt exchange program. So we heard from Thomas Emi here, who's a business reporter. Let's hear from Sam Dankwa Akest. He's the Chief Economics Officer and Director of Treasury and Debt Management Division at the Ministry of Finance. He was providing answers on the government's domestic debt exchange program at yesterday's press conference.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. And I would spend some bit of time to explain some of the issues that have been put on the table. And I think I will add on to the Honorable Minister, so I'll follow from the side. There are a lot of that. The market confidence can be measured scientifically. As you can see, on 29th of November 2022, Moody's downgraded Ghana again. This year, we've had all the three major sovereign credit rating agencies downgrading Ghana. These three command more than 98% of the world's global ratings. And since 2003, this is the lowest level we've ever been. And that is a sign of the confidence of the market. Again, you can also look at the second indicator, something that the finance people call the spread. So the spread is just measuring all the available instruments for investors to fund, and then picking the most safe of all of it, and then measure all the others to that. Now, when you cross 1,000 basis points, then it's a sign of how the market see you as a risk. And at that point, we had reached almost about 3,000. Now, if that reaches 3 months, it's temporal. If it's 6 months, it's temporal. When it gets to 1 year, then it is becoming permanent. And that means we must do something about it to restore the confidence. So the question you asked can be explained from this nomenclature. And when you read the fine lines of their report, you will see that they mention in very subtle sense that if we turn the economic crisis out positively, you will see that upgrades will go up, and that will show confidence moving up. So that will be a good measure for us all to have a look at. There was another question about the individual. The individual in this case is a natural person. All of us sitting here are individuals, so we are natural. I can see you, you can see me, you can talk, we can talk. So you're natural. And if you're registered in the CSD, so in the list that you have, the CSD has registry of everybody who has invested in government instruments. So if it's an individual, it is tagged as such. So it's easy to identify who an individual is. But I think our colleague raised a concern as to what happens to a mutual fund. Meaning if all of us here put our funds together into a pot, and then we express Madam to manage it for us into government instruments, some private instruments, real estate, or any other asset class, what happens to you, the individual, in that pot? In that case, you're talking about a collective scheme. You're talking about all of us together. But if all of us are together, there may be a reason why you may want to go out as an individual. But in that case, the registry is for all of us as a collective sense. The decision individual will take usually must be seen within the bigger context of why you are an investor and then what you want to do going forward. The details, as Honorable Minister mentioned, of classes of assets like that will be dealt with when the regulators come and have discussions with you. So I think that answers the position of the individual. Now, I think I heard a question on a haircut. Haircuts can come in three forms, or it's in quotes, haircut. It's a simple name for restructuring or something like that, if you want to put it that way. But the first one will be, assuming you are holding a 3-year bond, and for whatever reason, I wouldn't be able to pay you back, and I extend the time from 3 years to 5 years. It gives me time on maturity so that I can pay at a later date. That is one form. Another form could be that I am going to take your principal, if you brought in 1,000 Ghana cedis, and I'm going to reduce that in a sense, right? So that can be, in quotes, a haircut. But in this case of the debt exchange, the amount of money has not been extended or reduced. And then in our portfolio, we have maturing bonds that go up to almost about 20 years or 18 years. But if you look carefully in the bonds that the Honorable Minister mentioned, it's starting 2027 to 2037. So between about 5 years to 15 years. And the mix will go for everybody. So a weighted average may be around 10%, so lower a bit than the maturity that we do have here. Now, somebody will ask, inflation now is at 40%. So real costs of funding should be about 40%. But at 40%, how many emerging market cost of funding? What business can you do to have this very sticky, high and expensive cost of borrowing? If I'm doing a business, then it means I have to apply 40% on top of that. Would a sovereign be able to honor that if I give you a 10-year bond and it's at 40 fixed income, 40% every 2 years, almost the principal is paid out as interest costs? Within the life cycle of 10 years, the principal will have paid about 4 times, not the principal. All of us sitting here, if you were owning our companies with that kind of cost structure, how would you fare? So on one side, you are benefiting from the interest, but it's also a cost for us. When you look at the economy together, all of these market players, both the borrower and the lender, are all operating. So the question is, are we happy as a people with that high cost regime? I think looking at your faces, the answer is no. So we may have to do something about it, and that's why the macro setup is key. And I think the budget in various paragraphs highlighted it. So the question here is, the principal is guaranteed. The ability to pay is also measured against the stress tests that has been done on the financial institutions. Don't forget our money is in the financial institutions. These are heavy directions of things. And as the Honorable Minister mentioned, in Jamaica, in Greece, Argentina, in other countries, it is not an easy decision to make. It has far-reaching consequences. But you will consider the decision on the interest cost against the stress it can put on the entire financial sector and have a balancing act that satisfies an optimal choice across everyone. So the choice of the step up in the interest rates is trying to address exactly the capability and ability of the sovereign to be raising the funding to pay for that. But the question is not only on the interest. Look into the budget statement carefully. When you go into the fiscal, you go into the overall balance, you see 3 items there. One called net domestic financing, you see net foreign financing, and then you will see an item called exceptional financing. In the foreign financing, you see amortization of loans, meaning we pay back. You see amortization when maturities occur. But in the net domestic financing, where all these bonds are, there's no amortization. What does that mean? It means we are rolling over all the time. But in this case, these bonds are going to be what we call exit bonds. So in the first instance where the Honorable Minister mentioned 2027 maturity, in actual fact, in 2026, half of the instruments that will be paid back. And the last of that in 2037 will be paid back. In 2029, a similar thing will happen. Half will be paid back in 2028, and half will be paid back in 2029. Similar to 2032, that will be paid in 3 equal installments, because the Honorable Minister mentioned 25% of the allocation will be there. So that's larger than the 17. So it will be divided into 3. So 3 years prior, all that stock will be paid. Then the last one, which is 2037, is large, but it will start amortizing 5 years before 2037. The idea is to provide liquidity. The idea is to ensure a balance of the coupon payment and ability to pay the stock off. Otherwise, the way we're going, it will have been difficult to manage that. So that is a plus. When you do a net present value term, that adds and reduces the risk involved in.
My question is, the finance minister said that this bond exchange program is a pre-requirement to secure IMF support. What other requirements are we not aware of? Can he give us more insight? Also, he said that the community collaboration with the Security and Exchange Commission, initially, the Security and Exchange Commission gave support in the initial financial sector cleanup. Are we to anticipate more economic challenges? Because in the report released yesterday, he said that they are to use every appropriate approach or measures to ensure the impact does not affect individual bondholders. So are they open to use any economic or financial method to their advantage without any control from the finance ministry? Thank you.
Okay. Last, the final question. Okay.
So from the point of the, there were 2 related questions. One of them was the budget deficit, and then also the savings that could come on. So it's, the Honourable Minister for Finance presented a budget statement on 24 November. That budget is a pre-debt exchange budget. So we'll call it like no policy change budget. So what you see there as a deficit, if we complete the implementation of this, then that budget will have some revisions. So most definitely, that deficit you see there will decline. Again, when you look into that budget, you would have seen a domestic debt service amount, and I'm sure that's what our colleague was asking. Now, that will be, if we do nothing, then that is the amount we need to pay via coupon transactions, and not on the stock that we are holding. So that also will be flexed down. But let's not forget that it's not total. The idea is there will be exceptions, like the individuals are out. That also has treasury bills coupon payments, so the treasury bills component will also be out. Will be in the existing instruments as they are. Then the new one would kick in with the terms for 2023, as the Honourable Minister has mentioned. So one of the key outcomes from this is that those numbers you are seeing would have to have a natural flex. So that, I think, provides clarity on those 2 sides. Then, yeah, you are taking me, you said you put the right information out, but you are taking me into the realm of guesstimate, because the issue the Honourable Minister mentioned is that it's a voluntary exchange. So there is not a clear element, because we are going to deal with you. It's not a by force. If it's by force, I can tell you with certainty. I can tell you 32 is off. I can tell you that the holdouts from individuals is about 8 billion. I can give you all of that with certainty. But once it has an element of voluntary, let's be careful. The right information has to be done rightly. So I'll beg you to just hang on to that. And not that we are not able to, we can guess what range it is, but we'll give you the right information as the time goes on. Then there was a question about the IMF and then the multilaterals. Yes, the IMF program that we are envisaging to reach a service level agreement as early as practical in the next few weeks with your support. But also the IMF serves as a very good catalytic institution to kick in a lot of multilateral or bilateral supports. So you're right, we can get a number of support mechanisms that will come in to ensure that the financing of the budget is complemented by those resources. Then you made a reference also to the element of fiscal discipline. I think we all cannot agree with you more. The fiscal discipline is going to be extremely key. Going forward with an IMF program, with our own laws and structural reforms, where most of them have been highlighted in the budget statement, and I would go that you take a look at that, will be extremely key going forward in terms of fiscal discipline. And I believe that one of the major things, I think somebody asked, how are we going to communicate? Under a debt treatment of this nature, communication will be extremely important. So you will notice that we would have regular communication with you. There will be regular flyers, there will be regular reportage, there will be regular engagement. The issues are technical, the issues can be difficult, and the issues may be unprecedented. So it is important that we inform you, we be with you as we go through the journey.
So that was Sam Arkest. Sam Arkest is Chief Economics Officer and Director of Treasury and Debt Management Division at the Ministry of Finance. Answering some questions at the press conference that was done yesterday morning at the Ministry of Information to announce government's domestic debt exchange program. We'll hear from Theo Champong. Theo Champong is an economist and political risk analyst. We'll hear from him in a few minutes, also giving us his own perspective and breaking down some of the bigger issues in this, so we can all.
And Nathan, I think it's also important to hear from about 5 groups. So 2 things here. This debt exchange program is voluntary. Mm-hmm. In some countries like Greece, they made a law to make it by force. Mm-hmm. Kenoforiata says it's not going to force anybody to do it. So people are free to say we'll accept or reject. But the question is, what's the alternative? Now, we need to hear from banks. We need to hear from the pension funds.
The banks say we should stay calm. They've spoken.
Have the pension funds spoken? Pension trustees sent out a release.
Yes.
They said they reject it.
Yes.
We need to speak to the insurance companies. We need to ask the fund managers and collective investment schemes. So those are the 5 groups that
banks and CCT spoke. Let me find it for you.
Yes. So there's a statement that came from the pension trustees.
Yes.
We can deal with that after your money. But because of the nature of this, the fact that it is voluntary and the fact that individual investors will not be affected, it is really the groups that we should be focusing on. So when we come back, we'll try and speak to the Ghana Securities Industries Association. We'll speak to a rep from there and also speak to the pension trustees to see what they make of this, to get a sense of whether the industry will accept this or not. So we'll see how that works.
So coming up next is Your Money. This is still the Citi. Richard has the tip for us this morning.
And this morning, I have something very simple for you. Still coming in from the big trophy that the Avles give to us. We're dropping the things small. Now, you know that gone were those days where we used to do Anajoyede. In the night.
Free night call.
Yes. Charlie, you get some new girlfriend, you call her, talk, Charlie, the phone be hot, and you still be talking. Now, the advice is that, look, times are difficult. So instead of spending all your time on the phone, stop that. Just send a simple message. If you want to tell her I love you, just do that.
She actually already knows. No need to repeat.
Exactly. Just send a simple text message. Oh, honey, I want food prepared. Or this, like, oh, Charlie, you want to send text message?
She will disagree.
She will go ballistic.
That's a simple text message. You don't get complex, plenty talk conversation.
But let me ask you a question. Is text or WhatsApp, which one is cheaper?
Okay, so I don't know that.
WhatsApp is data, so this is not SMS. No, you know it's cheap.
SMS, a lot of. I think what you should also do is that read carefully through the bundle offers, because some of the bundles I have, they will give you like free
something,
text, calls, 900 minutes, whatever. So these bundles actually make sense if you, depending on your need. Some people like talking. So you can buy a certain bundle, where
allows you to talk.
You get some gig of data and then you talk for free.
So the tip then should be that understand
the bundle.
The bundles.
Understand. Then what you should not do is to just buy the credit and leave it like that.
Know what your bundle gives you.
Bundle it so that it's a package. And when you leave it like that, it will go.
It will run.
So is either text message or WhatsApp.
Yeah, man.
Avoid the calls as much as you can. Yeah. If it is not necessary, don't put through a call.
Or you can use iMessenger.
Yeah, that one also.
Yeah, I mean it depends if the two parties involved have iPhones.
iPhone, yeah.
That's the whole story.
That's the whole matter.
Yeah. That was your money.
Join the conversation on the Citi Breakfast Show on Facebook at facebook.com/Citi97.3.
Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and Star Times box. Citi TV, it's your world. Citi TV is live on DSTV. Go to channel 363. On GoTV, access Citi TV on channel 182. On a digital TV, please press the menu button on the remote control and run a new search on your TV. Take note that without an antenna, you cannot access Citi TV on your television. Citi TV can be accessed on a free-to-air digital box like the GoTV and Star Times box. Citi TV.
86996.
Yeah, Nathan, before we go on to the debt exchange, somebody said I should ask you a question. They said the plantain that we were talking about, where is it? The last week plantain in the Ministry of Agriculture.
Oh. When Nathan went to buy some.
No, are they still selling it?
Yeah, but in the newspaper, they said they are going to.
Where is the plantain?
Oh, calm down.
But I thought they went somewhere.
They said they are going to do assessment. Please. That's how I'll defend them. They said they are doing assessment. Please. They said they are doing assessment. Graphic business, the agribusiness page of graphic business.
Let me check.
Page 32. Let me find it. Bring it. Bring it. Unless you won't find it. I saw the thing. Bring the thing. I said bring me the thing.
Page 32.
No, this is graphic. Graphic business. Graphic business. It's coming. It's coming. Okay. Yeah. So they say that they are going to do assessment to identify any gaps. And also the impact that it had. So for now they have suspended or something. The food finished.
By the way, I wanted to say congratulations to the Farmer of the Year. You know, it's funny. Last week I was telling you that Sribo was my senior. He was my house captain when I was in secondary school. He was a year ahead of me, and he's a chief. He's the Chimpimhine of Jabin.
Oh, okay.
And he was the chairman of the year group.
The speech day.
Yeah, he's the national best farmer.
Wow, he's the best national farmer.
43.
Wow.
Yeah. So
he's a big
man. When you go to my school, you have to learn to weed in the first year. And if you weed it so that to be clean.
Correct.
When you can weed like that, farming is put into you as a spirit.
But everybody didn't weed.
He weeded. The only people who didn't weed were choristers.
By that,
for one
at the farm. He didn't weed.
No. But because he has natural he likes agriculture. Yeah. So Nana Yao Sapon Sribo.
Thank you.
2022 National Best Farmer.
The best
and the Achim Pimhini of Jabi. Age 43.
Thank you.
And Anodadie.
Thank you.
Yeah. We are coming.
Is that
Please go to do a jump.
Alright, let's hear from Philip Champo, economist and political risk analyst, on the implications of the domestic debt exchange program, and he was on last night's
point of view
on Citi TV.
Dr. T.A. Champon, I don't know what you felt when you heard the announcement. It started from last night, or maybe you might have picked up signals earlier. But what were the first impressions when you heard about this program?
Thank you once again. I think there are two aspects to it. There's the good and the not so good, or you may call it the bad. The good is the fact that the government actually issues three treasury instruments for the purposes of our people that are listening. The first one is the treasury bills, which are normally very short-dated instruments of less than or up to a year. The second instrument is the treasury notes, which could be anything between 2 to 10 years. And then the third instrument is the treasury bonds, which often have much higher yields, but then that could go up to about 20 years. So in the announcement that was made yesterday, and then subsequently the details that have been provided today, the first set of instruments, which is the treasury bills, and this is the good aspect of the announcement, the government said that all the holders of the treasury bills will be paid the full value of their investment. In other words, you're going to get both the principal and the interest being repaid to all these holders. But it is the not so great is when it comes to the issue of the treasury notes and the treasury bonds. And this is where, although the government talks about there will be no haircut on the principal of the bonds, in finance, we have a very simple, concept of the basic or the time value of money. So the total value of your investment is both the principal as well as the future interest that you're going to be earning, right? Which you then take into account, or you can discount to the present to work out the total worth of that. But under the proposal that the government is giving, especially with that which affects the institutional investors, if you work out the numbers, and if you even use the 1 million example that the Honorable Deputy Minister was giving us a breakdown on, and you work out the set of exchange of this new set of bonds vis-a-vis what you would have gotten in the past, clearly there's a loss there, or there's a haircut there, not on the principal per se, but on the interest, because that together adds up to the total value of the investment that you're having. So the good part, like I said, really is that on the treasury bills, where a lot of small investors and individuals may be playing within the market, the government says that they're going to pay the full value. But on the notes and on the bonds, we should expect some sort of a discount or some implicit haircut within that, just because of the fact that the values would not be the same when you take into account the time value of money, and even the proposal in terms of the coupon payments that are encapsulated in the current proposed arrangement.
Good. So what will be the effect of this on the international? I mean, the effect of this, looking from outside into Ghana. I mean, rating agencies, international market, etc. Would they say that good? These guys are trying to clean their house or put their house in order, so that's a good signal, or it will mean that Ghana is really under a lot of debt. Ghana may most likely not be able to honor its debt obligations. What will be the thinking of the international community when they look at what we are doing currently?
So for many an investor and many of those that I have interacted with, they've already priced in the likelihood of a default in many of their sort of investment models. And you can see that in the yield on a lot of the government, securities, where some of them are trading above 3,000, basis points compared to the U.S. Treasury, more or less, in a junk territory to that extent. So the markets have somewhat already priced this in. What they didn't know was really the sort of the details underpinning that pricing in. And that's where I think yesterday's statement is quite interesting. But also there's a bit of a dynamic here where the government really is signaling to the external bondholders that if we have been able to get, or if we are able to get the domestic bondholders to accept this set of debt exchange, then it's going to be difficult for them also to say that they're not going to, agree to some sort of restructuring of the external debt. Because remember that some of the external debt holders had already constituted some sort of group or committee, and they were already asking for some sort of favorable treatment on any proposed restructuring, exercise. So in a sense, is the government signaling to the external players or those who hold our external bonds like the Euro bonds and others that they should also be prepared to, accept some possible discount or haircut on their investment. But that's going to be a lot more complicated to deal with if we look at the experience of Zambia and Chad and a few other countries where it's taking over 2 years to really, organize just the external creditors, and the country cannot wait for that. So the low-hanging fruit was to start off with the domestic bond restructuring, use that to send a signal and get the IMF sort of program going, and then subsequently go back to the external creditors with, whatever proposal that the government brings on the table. That's how the market largely has been reading this.
I see. The government or the finance minister says it's a voluntary arrangement. Do you foresee a situation where bondholders, for example, will troop to the appropriate quarters and make an offer to government? Government is issued an invitation. They have to take up their offer. Do you foresee a similar process, or you think that government will at some point have to compel these bondholders to exchange their bonds for what government is offering?
I didn't hear everything. I think the line was quite bad. But yes, it's voluntary to an extent, and you should expect not all the players to fully participate, whether it is domestic or whether it is, external. The key thing really is that if you do get a majority of them, in my case, probably 60-70% of them participating, then it becomes extremely difficult for the other sort of 30% to hold everyone out. I mean, they might drag the process a little bit, but ultimately they tend to sort of, come around. It becomes also a little tricky, especially for the external debt, because if you want to reorganize that under the G20 framework, then what we saw in Zambia's experience, where it took 2 years, and at one point the Chinese were not playing ball, and some of the Eurobond holders were also not too sure whether any discounts that they give would subsequently be used to repay or offset other bilateral debt. All those issues would still very much sort of be at play. But the key point really here is equity in terms of the debt treatment, and that whatever we offer to one set of bondholders must be translated to all. Other than that, then you can have these issues of delays going forward.
So that was Thea Champon. Thea Champon is an economist and political risk analyst. He was speaking to Selom Adonu last night on the point of view. Very, very, very interesting times we're in. Let's see who else we can speak to. We'll see if we can get some more reaction. Let's speak to Kise Antonio. He's MD of Sentinel Asset Management, but he's part of the group of these companies. The other week he was here with Reverend Ogbamitet of the SEC.
So they're called the Ghana Securities Industry Association.
Yes, so he's part of the...
So as I said, individual investors, we are told, will not be affected. T-bill holders will not be affected, but institutional investors are many. There are banks. Banks' exposure to government securities are very high. Pension funds are there. Insurance companies are there. Fund managers and collective investment schemes, of which the GSI is the umbrella bodies there. So Kise Antonio plays a dual role. He's an industry player and is also speaking for the industry. We want to find out what the initial thoughts are, because this is like very big news. Yeah, Mr. Antonio, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bernard, and good morning to your listeners as well.
Fantastic. Is it fair to say the general industry has been surprised by this? So I'm talking insurance, banking, and securities, fund managers and all that. Did the announcement take you by any surprise, or is this you knew it was coming in this form?
Bernard, obviously we knew something was in the offing. And, there's been a lot of talk. I think it started with a Bloomberg report maybe several weeks ago. There were certain quotes ascribed to the Deputy Minister of Finance about 2 weeks ago. So I will not say we've been totally caught by surprise.
Fair enough. But in terms of the details of this, was this what you were expecting? I'm asking this because the ministry had announced that there was a committee led by, you can call him the eminent Albert Essien, with people like Simon Donu, Alexis Siedu. I mean, these are respected industry players who, based on their track record, we would expect that whatever they would propose would not disconcert the market too much. So based on that background, were you guys surprised by the nature of this proposal, i.e. that, yes, individual investors are protected, T-bills are not going to be affected, but everybody else has to take one of four, basically become one of the four new bonds?
Bernard, in that context, yes, we were surprised. Okay, I'm not privy to the report the committee sent to government, but we consulted at length with them, and I think I have a good sense of what was sent to government. And what was communicated to us I don't think, was in no way aligned with what was recommended by the committee. So, yes, in that context, it took us by surprise. And I dare say, calling a spade, I think it left a lot of the constituents of the GSI aggrieved.
So what aspect of the proposal, we heard Mr. Arkhurst explain yesterday at the press conference, we've seen the speeches. What about the proposal did the association or the industry players find most perplexing?
I mean, look, we understand that we are at a crossroads as a country, no doubt, and we perfectly understand that difficult measures, choices need to be made, but we believe this must be done in the spirit of fairness, and it is important that government takes the lead in carrying all of us along, as it espouses this new mantra of burden sharing, and for most investors, we don't think this is the case, and I guess that is what is leaving a lot of investors aggrieved. We know that there are certain expenditure containment measures in the budget. We don't think it goes far enough. We think expenditure needs to be cut to the bone. We think these changes which have been made, we see them more cosmetic than real. You understand? So when you have such sentiments being bandied around, it is very difficult to carry these investors along. Hence my saying investors are pretty aggrieved.
And this is notwithstanding the fact that we are told that even if government were to reduce this surplus, its budget deficit for even the next decade, it would not be enough to reduce the debt to GDP to the level that we need. So apparently our debt to GDP is 105. We need it to be 55, and that if we run even 10 straight years of a balanced budget, i.e. if they even cut their expenses drastically for the next 10 years, it will still not reduce the debt because of the level of debt accumulation, the rate the interest is growing. So I'm saying that the point being that irrespective of what they do, we've gotten to a point where the amount they spend servicing debt has to reduce, both domestically and on a foreign base, so that it was inevitable. That's my point.
Yes, and we perfectly understand that. That's why I say we understand we're at a crossroads. But it's important that I think we are consulted in a very intensive way, and it's important that it's done so as not to create fear and panic. For us, I think we've been engaging with our regulator, which is the Securities and Exchange Commission. I mean, they've been very receptive to us. I mean, we spent a few hours with them yesterday. And especially for the fund managers, I believe that the case we seem to be making now is individuals are exempted. Individuals who carry these bonds are exempted from this proposed debt exchange program. And we believe that investors in our collective investment schemes should be treated the same way, because if we are looking at protecting the vulnerable in society, it is those the artisans, the seamstress, the tailor who is trying to save towards paying their kids' school fees. They are the ones in the collective investment schemes. They don't buy government bonds. So if you're exempting investors who hold treasury bills, if you're exempting individuals who hold bonds, we think that should apply to the 700,000 subscribers in our collective investment schemes. I mean, the challenges those schemes have faced have been well documented. I was in your studio with the Director General of the SEC. We spoke at length about what was leading to those challenges. But for now, we are making that case.
So, will these 700,000 people who have invested in these collective investment schemes be more than the individual retail investors? Because I'm told that Ghana has quite a large market of retail investors who buy treasury bonds directly through primary dealers with CSD accounts. And if these guys are going to be exempt, and I'm told that this industry is also quite deep. So if you look at the 700,000 under the collective investment schemes who don't have a direct relationship with the market because they have to do it through their fund managers, versus the individuals who go to their bank and say, buy me a government of Ghana paper or whatever, would you say that the numbers lie with the collective investment scheme still?
I'll not want to make a guess now. I mean, I think we can get those numbers from the Central Securities Depository. But I will want to believe that the CI's investors are more than those who buy these bonds directly.
Good. So,
I don't know the numbers about treasury bills.
Fair enough. How damaging will this proposal be for confidence in fund management companies generally and collective investment schemes in particular, looking at the announcement that the SEC made 3 weeks ago or a couple of weeks ago about moving from accrual to mark-to-market, which didn't really go down well, and then this, how damaging would it be for people like you when you go to people and say, come and give me your money?
Interesting. I mean, for now, before answering the question, I think it's important that investors do not panic. I think it's important that everyone keeps a calm head. Like I said earlier, we are talking to the powers that be, and we are being given a listening ear. So let's not panic. That being said, I think, look, there is a serious crisis of confidence in the industry. And I guess that started with the financial sector cleanup in 2017. we thought we were picking up the pieces, and we end up being saddled with this. I don't think the potential impact is exclusive to fund managers or collective investment schemes alone. I mean, it is the whole capital market. You see, the main thing is if any entity, be it government, private sector, is to issue securities, I mean, it's going to be a difficult conversation to get a lot of these retail investors, and I even dare say institutional investors, to subscribe to these issuances in the future. Because what this is doing is it is damaging the confidence of investors. And I think the potential fallout for this would be very serious on the capital markets. We've come a long way over 3 decades. And the capital market is a very crucial part in funding businesses and even government. And in trying to solve one problem, I think we need to get a good balancing act in order not to create further problems down the road. But like I said, we're talking. This is a voluntary debt exchange program. Things are evolving day by day. We're taking it a day at a time, so I will not want to speculate. Let's just see for the coming days.
Fair enough. Because I thank you for that. But just before you go,
yes,
you rightly pointed out that this is voluntary. So you are not forced to do this. Now, indeed, the Chamber of Corporate Trustees have just sent out a press release moments ago, signed by... What's the name of the guy? Signed by somebody called... Yes, and they are basically saying they are rejecting the debt exchange program. My question to you is, has the GSIA decided on a position, and to the extent that this is voluntary, is rejecting it an option? And if it is, what if you reject it, what does that mean? So for example, if I have 130,000 of us are in one collective investment scheme, and we all say, please, Mr. Stanbic or Mr. EDC or Mr. Data Bank or Mr. Fidelity, don't accept this debt exchange. What realistically can my fund manager say if all of us say we don't want it?
I mean, like I said, we're still talking, right? If for me, I guess the question is, if you don't take up the program, what are the alternatives? And we're still talking, and based on those talks, we'll come up and take a decision.
Okay, we'll leave it here. Thank you for your time, Kisai Antonio. He's the head of...
He's the president of the
Ghana Securities Industry Association, and then he's also from Sentinel.
Yes, he's MD of Sentinel Asset Management.
And while we've been on air, something else has happened.
Yes.
Yeah,
you made a reference to that, but Godfred has the full statement.
Yeah, so this is coming from the Chamber of Corporate Trustees, and they are saying Chamber of Corporate Trustees rejects government debt exchange program. Let me read this quickly. It says,
on
on 30th October 2022, the President of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, addressed the nation and assured all Ghanaians that there would be no haircuts on pension funds. A few weeks after this announcement, we are all witnessing, rather surprisingly, a major U-turn from that position. We have carefully analyzed the announcement by the Minister of Finance on the debt exchange program and are of the opinion that it is injurious to the interests of contributors to pension schemes. The Pensions Chamber would like to assure contributors to pension schemes that the industry has not agreed to the debt exchange program proposed by the Ministry of Finance. As trustees, we hold a fiduciary responsibility and are enjoined to seek the best interests of contributors at all times. We encourage all contributors to pension schemes to seek further information from their pension providers as we engage further with government for an improvement to the terms of the restructuring. We recognize that inflation has caused significant harm to pension fund assets this year, and there's the urgent need to reduce government debt burden and restore macroeconomic stability. That should, however, not be done to the detriment of contributors to pension schemes. We share in government's call for burden sharing. That should be done in the spirit of fairness to ensure a win-win outcome to all stakeholders.
The proposal, as put forth by the Minister of Finance, is inferior to market expectation and will destroy the savings of Ghanaians and further undermine market confidence. This is why we reject it outright. We indulge contributors to pension funds and actors in the pension industry to remain calm as we seek the best outcome in our negotiations with the Ministry of Finance. We will duly inform members of the outcome of our deliberations on behalf of Chamber of Corporate Trustees of Ghana, Thomas Kwesi. This is serious. Secretary. So they are rejecting it.
They have been very clear.
They have rejected it
in terms of how they feel about
it. There's something you read. They said it will make something worse. The last paragraph, something very serious you read there. They said they think that it will render...
Yes, it's on market confidence. It says, we share in government's call for burden sharing, but that should be done in the spirit of fairness to ensure a win-win outcome to all stakeholders. The proposal as put forth by the Minister of Finance is inferior to market expectation and will destroy the savings of Ghanaians and further undermine...
It will destroy the what?
The savings of Ghanaians.
And further undermine market confidence. This is why we reject it outright.
Debt exchange will destroy the savings of Ghanaians.
Yes, well, the proposal in its current form, basically, that is what they are saying.
That's
so
serious.
they'll continue to engage.
So they are rejecting it in limine.
Yes, in this current form.
When you say in limine,
yeah, the threshold from the very start.
So the Latin, no. They reject it in limine.
Yes.
Yes. They said they throw them away.
Charlie, from the very word go, without any further consideration of the matter.
And also, there's something, I think, Sky, you have to do with that. It's a legal matter.
Yeah, so you know that this matter has to do with the sanctity of contract. You know, parties have gone to sign a contract, and they say that, okay, these are the terms and conditions of the contract. When the bond matures, you have to pay me X amount of money as interest. The government, for some reason, because of the difficulties we see with the economy, decided that, look, this is what we have to do if we are to stabilize the economy for the benefit of all of us, the parties involved. So the government is suffering, and if we do not deal with these problems, then you too, as an investor, will suffer. Now, given what they want to do, technically speaking, it will amount to a breach of contract because you have obligations imposed on you. You took my money to return me certain benefits. Now you are saying that for A, B, C, D reasons, you are not going to perform your side of the bargain. This is a legal matter which would mean that the rights have accrued to the people who have invested to go to court and vindicate their rights. So in keeping with that, the Ministry of Finance apparently wrote a letter to the Attorney General's Department seeking an opinion from the AG as to what exactly it will mean if government were to choose out of 4 options to try and push through this particular matter. So that letter...
So the Minister of Finance wrote to the AG?
Exactly.
Asking for an opinion?
Yeah. Exactly. You know that...
On what this means?
Exactly.
All right.
So under Article 88 of the Constitution, the Attorney General is the principal legal advisor to the government and
for very interesting opinions.
Exactly. So the letter was actually written to the AG on the 3rd of November 2022, and the reference number is provided. But for want of time, let me go straight to what exactly the request said, and then I'll go straight
into the ratio of the
matter, the meat of the AG's opinion. Yeah. So the request basically says your letter bears a request for the legal opinion of this office on the following questions. There are 4. A, the legality of a unilateral attempt by the government to introduce CACs directly into the bond agreements. B, the plausibility of an indirect approach by passing an act of parliament or legislative instrument LI, enacting a collective action mechanism in relation to bonds, including a voting percentage threshold for affecting or effecting changes to the bond agreements as a general law in Ghana going forward, and the timing for the passage of such an act or legislative instrument. C, whether under Ghanaian law, executive action, i.e. executive instrument, emergency powers can be deployed to impose CACs on bondholders. And D, whether a voluntary engagement, considering the commercial contract nature of this transaction, can impose CACs on bondholders. Now, basically what they are saying is that they want to know what legal regime can be properly deployed in order to push through what the government came to announce through the finance minister. Now,
so the 4 questions were all posed by the Ministry of Finance. So they wanted to be sure that the approach they were taking would probably be the most effective part of least resistance.
Yeah, so that out of all the 4 options they had proposed, based on the question they had asked, which of them would be more plausible legally for the government to deploy? Now, if you go to the last page of the document, the AG's opinion, which is on page 9, the AG responds to these questions as follows. In view of the foregoing, this was after he had done his own analysis of what the law says and what is not allowed and what should be done. He says, on the first point, he says, in the absence of agreement by the parties, it will be unlawful for the government to unilaterally introduce CACs into
where a CAC is a collective action clause.
Exactly. Into bond agreements and may constitute an event of default under clause 12 of the terms and conditions of the bonds issued under the program.
Take your time, read it again.
Okay, so it says that in
this is Godfrey Dame.
Yeah, that's right.
He's saying that if you look at clause 12, you look at what?
The terms and conditions, clause 12 of the terms and conditions of the bonds. If the government were to impose these obligations, these new obligations unilaterally, on its own without consulting the other party, it will amount to a breach. In which case,
which is then a default.
Exactly, which is then a default because you have to pay the money by a particular date. You are saying that you cannot pay it, which will amount to a breach of contract. And if that happens, whoever person is affected is entitled to go to court and vindicate his
So that's if they were unilaterally to do it.
Exactly. Now, 2, he says that the indirect approach of the enactment of an act of parliament or legislative instrument prescribing a collective action mechanism in relation to bonds is plausible insofar as the proposed inclusion of a voting percentage threshold for effecting changes to bond agreements does not interfere with any accrued rights of any party or third-party beneficiaries of bond agreements, and also does not operate retrospectively to impose limitations that adversely affect the personal rights and liberties of any party to a bond agreement.
Read it again.
Okay.
And emphasize, I think I got the second part, but the first part I didn't get.
Okay. Now, it says that the indirect approach of the enactment of an act of parliament.
Go to parliament and create a law.
Exactly.
Like what they did in Greece.
Yeah.
To say that this debt exchange is binding because it's law.
Yeah.
If you use that route, Godfrey Dame is saying that if you use that route, what will happen?
Or legislative instrument prescribing a collective action mechanism.
Which is what they've tried to do.
Exactly. In relation to bonds is plausible.
It's plausible.
Insofar as the proposed inclusion of a voting percentage threshold for effecting changes to bond agreements does not interfere with any accrued rights of any party or third-party beneficiaries of bond agreements, and also does not operate retrospectively to impose limitations that adversely affect the personal rights and liberties of any party to a bond agreement.
I understand the second part.
Okay,
the first part is confusing in the sense that I don't know whether that voting limitation threshold is imposed on the people who bought the bond, or whether it's a collective decision.
Yeah, you know that normally, if the people bought the bond together, the question is whether changes can be made to the terms and conditions. Now, you don't need all the people to agree that this is what we want to do. So long as you have a majority, you can effect the necessary.
But they are saying that thing should not interfere with the rights which have been accrued by the people who bought the bond.
Exactly.
So there are some rights which are inalienable even in that relationship.
Exactly.
So even, wow.
So
and then the second issue is that the retroactive one is even worse because they are saying that even if you impose the law,
that will be a raised constitutional matter because
the law cannot have
retrospective effect as to impose obligations
so
that
if
were
I
not
bought
pre-existing.
the bond on 30th November 2019 and then you came to announce on 5th December 2022, you can use it to deal with the law, the bonds before. After, but not before.
Exactly. In other words, if you say that you are paying me 100 Ghana cedis, that's a pre-agreed, arrangement. Do you understand? You cannot, after the fact of my rights accruing, so that my money is already ready, I need to go and collect it. Now you are saying that, you have passed a new law saying that instead of 100 Ghana cedis, I'm giving you 80 Ghana cedis.
But the question though is that, that's why somebody said, if the government has gotten to this stage, then it could say, I'm in default, I can't pay. Now, if I can't pay, what does the agreement say about when the person who sold the bond can't pay?
So that's where court will come in, because
you have agreed under a contract to perform ABCD obligation.
But because of an act of God.
Yeah, so there are only
Russia and Ukraine.
No, it's not applicable.
COVID.
No, it's not applicable here.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that generally, when you have a contract,
frustration and
you can say that certain things happen which are beyond. So maybe let's finish the opinion, because I am sure that there are people who have this school of thought that the government is technically defaulting. So the government could come from the point of saying, look, I can't pay.
Yeah.
So let's look at what the default clause says.
Yeah, it has to sit within the remit of the law for the courts to allow.
So you are saying he was reading 4 things. So he gave us 2.
Yeah,
just wrap up and then we'll come to that.
The third one says executive actions, including executive instruments and emergency powers, may not be lawfully employed to impose CACs on bondholders, since they will operate retrospectively, again, that term is used here, and may also constitute an event of default under Clause 12 of the terms and conditions of the bonds issued under the program, and a breach of the terms of the bond and agreements. So again, the president cannot, or through his minister, enact an executive instrument to impose the obligations we say would operate retrospectively. And the last one says 4, voluntary engagement with relevant parties to bond agreements would be able to produce the outcome of a voluntary modification and inclusion of CACs on bond.
So which is what they chose?
Exactly. So let me basically explain. You know, when you enter into a contract, the law is that parties are at liberty to sign whatever contract that they want, whatever terms that they want, so long as it does not infringe the law. So if you want to sell your house and you believe that the house is 10 Ghana cedis, even when ideally on the market you should sell for 200,000 Ghana cedis, it is between you and the party who signed the contract. Courts will not come in and say that why did you sell the the house for 10 Ghana cedis. So if these bondholders go to government, or government comes to them and says that, okay, these are the new terms we think we want you to go with because we cannot pay, and you as a holder, an investor, voluntarily say that, okay, I agree with the government, in effect, you are making changes to the existing contract. You understand? Ideally, you could have rejected the proposal from government and said that, look, I want to enforce the original contract. But what they are doing, what they are proposing is that we want to make changes. Those changes, do you agree or you do not agree? If you agree to it and you accept the changes and it is executed, you cannot go back and say that, oh, the changes that you have made, I do not agree with.
Which is why the government gave up to December 19.
Exactly.
To say, if you want to take part in this exchange.
Yeah.
So it means the Minister of Finance is listening to the Attorney General here.
Yes.
He doesn't want to create further legal problems.
Yep.
So, but the question then is, if somebody says, I am proposing a change, you can take it or not. What is the alternative? The alternative is that the government will default.
Yeah.
Now, if the government defaults, what would be interesting to know is, what does the law say about the default? Because are there specific laws governing when you buy, say, a treasury bond, or because not treasury, but like a treasury bond or those things? Are there specific laws around government default?
Yeah. So if you go into the the opinion, the AG actually makes specific reference to the Contracts Act. So he makes reference, for instance, to Section 17 of the Contracts Act 1960, makes the act applicable to contracts and transactions entered into for and on behalf of the Republic as it applies to other contracts and transactions. Now, let me read some further details. In line with the doctrine of sanctity of contracts, persons with capacity to contract expect courts to enforce the contracts they enter into, unless the contracts are vitiated by factors including, as we mentioned earlier, fraud, frustration, and duress. Now, just like any contractual document, a bond agreement may be modified or varied at any time before or after signing the agreement. This is, however, subject to the terms of the bond agreements relating to contract modification or variation. In the absence of such a contract modification or variation clause, the common law principles of modification of contract are applicable. A contract can be modified as long as all the parties thereto consent to the changes. Traditional contract doctrine forbids the unilateral modification of contracts and threats or treats a proposed unilateral modification as an offer that is not binding unless it is accepted.
I wanted you to go back to the 3 Fs. You said it can be vitiated by fraud, frustration, or what?
Duress.
Duress.
Those things are not just English words. I'm sure they mean something.
Yeah, so fraud is where, for
You
instance,
lied. So if, for example, the government made a representation in the bond offer which was factually untrue,
Exactly.
that's fraud. What does frustration mean?
frustration is an act of God, could lead to. So, for instance, if I decide that I want to buy fuel from, say, Russia, because of the war, it makes it impossible for me to perform the contract.
So that's frustration.
So the contract is frustrated by reason of the war in Ukraine.
So what is duress?
Duress is where, for instance, you hold a gun to my head and say that if you don't sign this contract, you know.
Okay, so let's deal with frustration. If you listen to the government very carefully, and the preamble they've given is that even when the minister was saying that debt to GDP is now, the debt is unsustainable, he was basically saying it's because of COVID and Russia, Ukraine. So, and I'm just for sake of argument. Okay, this is not what the government is saying. So if for sake government says, you know what, I entered a contract with you, I'm going to give you this percentage for the bonds I sold to you, but I could not anticipate this epochal event of the COVID crisis, which threw everything out of gear. And then the Russia-Ukraine war happening the next year further frustrated everything. And so I plead. So if you take me to court, so I'm saying I'm in default, I can't give you the money. And this is for people who say they won't accept the new offer. So the person says, I'm going to court to enforce this. And the government says, look, it's frustration. There's no way a government could have anticipated the COVID crisis. There's no way a government could have known that Rasputin had a plan for those people. So,
you see the way I'm looking at you. Stop.
For sake of legal argument. So I come before you and I say, Your Highness, your Lordship, this is clear frustration. So, and I'll give you over 20 countries that have all gone to IMF,
and there will also governments 50 reasons why they are also frustrating us.
No. We are talking about in the specific issue of the bond.
Yes,
that I am unable to pay because of frustration. Government don't have money.
Okay, so
how would the court think about this?
Okay, so you see, the person who is pleading frustration must prove it.
Oh, I can prove it.
So
I'll call Rasputin.
but then I also prove to the court that the frustration is not actually frustration. It is just poor management.
Oh, you want to do something? Okay, yeah. I just want to actually cite.
Okay, you just
we plead frustration.
We are the citizens of Ghana also pleading frustration.
All right, let's get to the line. Let's speak to Thomas Kwesi Eso.
Quickly.
He's with the Chamber of Corporate Trustees.
Yes, please.
And he's the Executive Secretary, Chamber of Corporate Trustees of Ghana. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the Citi Breakfast Show.
Good morning, Nathan. Good morning, Bernard. Good morning, Ricky Scott. You're welcome.
Thank you, my brother. How are you?
Good man. I'm doing very well. Good man. I mean, great to be with you.
Yes.
Good morning to your listeners also.
Great. We'll get into your statement that clearly states your position. But for somebody who does not know, can you just briefly, in a few minutes, just explain to us how the pensions trustee space works? And then, yes, how does it work?
How does the pension trustees?
You are the pension trustees. Can you just explain to us, lay people, how your space operates?
All right. Thank you very much, Nathan. So let me just explain that the pension trustees, per the law, are like the companies who have been set up so that if you are a company like CTFM who cannot also set up a standalone scheme, you can also send your contributions, you can remit your tier 2 contributions to any of these trustees, i.e. we have Agri, Enterprise, Petra, UPT, Kimtin, PPT. I mean, you have them. We have about 28 pension trustees here. And these trustees are actually licensed by National Pensions Regulatory Authority, NTRA. NTRA is the regulator of pensions in Ghana. I mean, we are all aware of Act 766, which was promulgated just about 10, 11 years ago. And so NTRA is the regulator. And these trustees have all come together as a trade and professional association to set up a chamber. And that is the Chamber of Corporate Trustees, which I am the Executive Secretary. And I basically lead the media and advocacy engagement on behalf of the all corporate trustees.
Okay. In terms of numbers, can you just give us an idea of the size of the space? How much are we looking at, or how many people's pensions are you managing? Let me put it that way. And what's the size of all the pensions
portfolios in Ghana?
The pension portfolios, in Ghana.
All right. So thank you very much. If you look at the size, I mean, take the public sector workers, take the private sector workers, who are all contributing. So, I mean, a very large amount of workers whose pensions are being contributed to the corporate trustees. There are some who have also set up what we call the standalone scheme, the employer for the scheme. I know some banks and some other big companies who can survive on their own. They have set that up also themselves. And if you're looking at our AUM, I mean, the size of the pension industry currently, that is about, this year we are looking at about, we are estimating about 32 billion Ghana cedis, about 32 billion Ghana cedis of the pension size of the AUM of the pension. So that's the size of the industry. Okay. Put all of this together.
Great. You've put out a statement clearly stating your stance on government's debt exchange program. Can you just tell us why you are rejecting the program? Why are you unhappy with government's plan?
Thank you very much, Nathan, and thank you very much, CTFM. I think one of the basic reasons why we reject this, I mean, stems from the fact that the Minister of Finance put up the statement and said they have engaged stakeholders or bondholders, and we want to put this we want to make it clear that we were not engaged on any plan on this debt exchange program. What actually happened?
You're saying you were not engaged?
Yes, I'm putting that on record. That we were not engaged. What actually happened is that I think around in October when they set up the 5-member committee, this 5-member committee met the industry and took our concerns, our challenges, our views. So that's what the committee did. I remember very well Mr. Samodonu even stressing the case that they are not doing that for any IMF program, or even though they know they are doing a debt sustainability analysis, but we should best think of our mind whether there is going to be a haircut or no haircut, because that speculations have been there. I remember very well because I convened that meeting and I was very present and I was critical to that meeting. And then what happened on Friday, Farmers' Day, was that we all called into the meeting. And when Dr. Sam Atkins, or the governor and the Minister of Finance, have made remarks, and Dr. Sam Atkins presented the debt situation of Ghana, and then they presented to us what is the debt exchange program, where they said they are now putting all bonds of government into one portfolio, and they are going to divide these portfolios into 4. That is into 4 different bonds. I'm sure you're all aware of that. The 2027, 2029, 2032, and 2037 bonds. And then with different, tenure. Aside that, then the announcement of the coupon scheme, where they told us that 2023, we are going to receive 0% interest on all the bonds, all the 4 bonds. And then 2024, we are going to receive only 5% interest on all the bonds. And then in 2025, that is in 3 years' time, we are going to receive 10% on all the bonds, and for the rest or the rest of life of all the bonds. And this is very critical because our operations, as you are all aware, it says that we rely much on liquidity and also maturity, the coupon payment. I mean, we rely very much on that because there are contributors or members of the team who go on retirement at any point in the year. There are some also who have contributed to Provident Fund who also come and draw down on their funds. And all this, you need to pay them with the liquidity that we get from the bonds that we have that bought from government. And Nathan, let me put it also on record that almost about 80% of the assets of the industry are all in government GOG bonds. Almost 80%. So if we are 32 billion, 80% of 32 billion are all in the government of Ghana bonds. And therefore, if you have 80% of our assets, and you also consider this industry as a significant stakeholder or bondholder, or who plays in government of Ghana's bond issuances, I think that there should be a better way to engage in the industry. For you to also understand what would be the challenges of the industry with any debt program that you are coming up with. And that is what I think government missed it, the government did not do. That is why the industry is taking this stance and rejected the proposal of the government.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. That was Thomas Kwesi Eso. He is Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Corporate Trustees of Ghana. Very interesting. We'll try and see if we can get more reactions from the various stakeholders and see what they make of the government's plan. So listen to the Citi Breakfast Show. Now, the Town Hall edition or the Securities and Exchange Commission in Ghana is collaborating with the Ghana Securities Industry Association to bring you the Securities Industry Town Hall meeting, dubbed Time with SEC Town Hall edition with GSIA. Now, this event is designed to engage members of the investing public on important developments in the securities market, including the mark-to-market valuation method, among others, and directly addressing concerns and questions from members of the investing public. Now, it's happening Monday, 12th of December at 10 a.m. It will be live on Citi FM and Citi TV. The engagement will also be streamed live on social media via SEC's Facebook page, SEC Ghana. You can register to participate in this event for free by registering to join virtually via Zoom, bit.ly/SECGSIA. All members of the investing and general public are encouraged to join. For more info, you can call 0800 1065, 0800 1065, 0800 100065. Now, if you are tired and you are thirsty and you've been hustling under the sun, or you need something to go with your favorite meal, Coca-Cola is there. You can get the Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Fanta Sprite in the 300 ml glass bottle at 2 Cedi 50 pesos, in a plastic bottle at 3 Cedi 50 pesos, and your favorite Coke Classic in the 300 ml plastic bottle at 3 Cedi 50 pesos. Whatever it is you're doing, make Coca-Cola a part of that moment. Coca-Cola, real refreshment for all occasions, and Coke Zero Sugar. You need to try it first. Now, you want to attend school, you need to consider the Heritage Christian College. It's at Amasaman, and it's behind the Olympic Stadium, accredited by GTech and affiliated to KNUST. You can call them on 0547 777 or 0202 298 399 and find out all that they are doing. They've got BBA programs, BSc Information Technology, Bachelor of Theology, tutorial for professional programs, media and IT short courses. Heritage Christian College, offering world-class university education and training compassionate entrepreneurial leaders. So, listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. We'll take a very quick break. When we come back, we've got more for you. Be right back. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Citi Breakfast Show, the city's biggest conversation.
What do you get when you mix the best DJs in the country, the most amazing live band sets, delicious cocktails, and wonderful food? Back-to-back hit music from Ghana's finest group, Prior. What do you get when you mix the best DJs in the country, the most amazing live band sets, delicious cocktails, and wonderful food? Back-to-back hit music from Ghana's finest group, Prior, and being serenaded by the brilliantly talented Akwabua. The biggest outdoor party, of course. Situation 2022. Are you ready to party? We are changing the situation on December 24, 2022 with the biggest outdoor party in Accra. The Situation Outdoor Party 2022. Let's wrap up the year in style with the most epic party to end all parties this Christmas Eve with Situation. Make your Christmas Eve come alive with the most incredible DJs who will keep you dancing all night long. Amazing live band sets and the crooner Akwabua. It is the perfect ingredient for the best party this festive season. Ain't no party like a city party, because a city party don't stop. This will be another one to remember. Date Saturday 24th December 2022. Venue La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, Accra. Time 8 p.m. Dress code, it's an all-white affair. For table booking, call 020-5973-973 or 055-8973-973. Book your table and make reservations now. Media partners, Ghana Weekend and Citi FM. This is powered by Citi TV. This is a Beyond the Return event. do you get when you mix the best DJs in the country, the most amazing live band sets, delicious cocktails, and wonderful food? Back-to-back hit music from Ghana's finest group Prayer and being serenaded by the brilliantly talented Aquabua. The biggest outdoor party, of course. Situation 2022. Are you ready to party? We're changing the situation on December 24, 2022 with the biggest outdoor party in Accra.
We'll get to your comments and questions in a bit there. We'll get back to that. But let's do some other things. Let's talk some education. Going to school is really cool and it's fun. So I've been joined by Professor Fred Magbagonu. He's president of the Academic Citi University College. And whenever he joins us, we talk school and schooling matters. So yes, it's only right.
That's easier.
That's easier. Prof, how are you doing? Good morning.
I'm good, thank you.
All right, let's talk about the year 2022 for Academic Citi. How it's been for you this year. It's been a very interesting year generally, yes. But for Academic Citi, how has it been for you?
It's been good. You know, we graduated our first cohort. We had the inauguration of our campus, which was attended by the second gentleman of the land, His Excellency Muhammadu Bawumia, and it was also graced by Guruji Shri Shri Shankar Ravi, or Ravi Shankar. An amazing year, you know, to see all these graduates walking up, getting their degrees, and beginning their various journeys into the sunrise of their lives. We set up a Make Lab, so some global strategic partnerships materialized on our campus. We got over 100 new students, 200 students actually.
Okay.
So it's been quite progressive. I would say an exciting year, despite all the other peripheral challenges.
I see. So what would you say was the biggest thing you did, or the greatest achievement you were able to chalk this year at an Academic Citi?
I really think, you know, getting this new cohort out into the real world, 3 of them going on to do startups, really solidifies the very ethos of the institution as an entrepreneurial one. I would say bringing the school officially online in terms of the inauguration were key milestones. And working with partners like the Israeli embassy to get a Make Lab on campus. I think these were really some of the good things that we chalked this year.
Great. You mentioned, you highlighted what some of the graduates are doing. Some people have, some are into startups, they started their own thing. But just generally, what's the picture looking like? I mean, what all of them are doing now?
So, you know, the usual national service, most of them have gone on to national service. 2 have moved on immediately to graduate school. 3 have done startups. One of the startups is an electric bike that you could actually ride for about 50 kilometers before they need to charge it. Same team is converting mechanical wheelchairs into electric wheelchairs. We have a student that has started a robotics company. Another student that went into farming, building his own incubators and folder machines, among other things. So I think quite an interesting year for us. I think they're up to a good start.
Great. And these are all parts of the first
cohort.
First cohort.
Yes.
Amazing. You've opened 2 new labs, the ACT Make Lab and a hardware and electronics lab in partnership with ARM.
That's right.
Can you just tell us a lot more about these projects? They sound exciting.
Yes. So the Make Lab is in partnership with Make Lab, which is a group out of Israel. And it's essentially a creative space that is open to the general public. Okay. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, you have ideas that you want to come and tinker with, you are allowed into that space. We have IoT equipment in there. We have 3D printers, laser cutters. So it's essentially a place for idea realization. The ARMS piece is basically an IC company that is providing components, electronic components for student projects, and also to help them, realize concepts, among other things. So, that essentially solidifies our entrepreneurial spirit, that it's a place where you can come with ideas and kick in the tires.
I see. Great. So all these labs are on campus?
Yes.
Great. Yeah. Fascinating. And the students run these labs themselves?
Students run these labs themselves with the help of teaching assistants and faculty supervisors. And we do training. We open up to the general public so you can actually come in and attend a seminar. If you have ideas, you can come in and we'll partner with students and we'll try to build you a prototype, among other things.
I see. So I'm just fascinated by this. Let's stay on that for a couple more minutes.
Okay.
So how long did it take to set up the labs, the two labs, and how old are they?
So I think both of them are under 2 months old.
Oh, wow.
Usually the conversations leading to them takes much longer than the actual stuff. The engineers like to get on their knees and put things together, but we always have to allow the policymakers to converge first.
I see.
So it's been about 2 months now. Both labs are open, and I invite you to visit. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, it sounds fascinating. Yeah. Sounds fascinating. Let's talk about the ACT ventilator project. That's something that you're also doing. Okay, so let's talk about how it started and then the current status.
Yeah. So the ventilator started right about when COVID started in March 2019, 2020. And I just made a call on Facebook. I said, hey guys, instead of everybody cowering in the shadows and praying to a tired God, can we step up and try to do something? And I got a couple of volunteers from around the world, and we started off with a couple of prototypes. None of us had ever built a ventilator, but again, everything I've built is always the first time. So we kicked in the tires. Now we're at a point where we actually have a unit in Kolebu Teaching Hospital undergoing some basic clinical tests. So it's been a long ride. Yesterday we had a med fair where we had our partners and stakeholders across the spectrum, from FDA to GIZ, our main sponsor.
Okay.
And I think we're at a point where one day soon, maybe in the next 6 months, it will be a product that you'll see in a hospital near you.
I see. So you mentioned that, you hadn't built, so what? So you got a prototype and you pulled it apart just to see what was inside?
No.
And then
No. So a prototype in this case is basically trying to understand the biology, the physics, the chemistry of how the human body interacts with such a system.
Okay.
When you cannot breathe, how can we keep your lungs going? And so it's basically started with the physics, designed a structure around the physics, tested it, and we just kept evolving it as we understood the system more and more, because there was actually no ventilator to take apart. We had to create it from scratch.
Create it from scratch.
Yes.
Amazing. Now, somebody's, a parent is listening, somebody's a guardian, whoever, and they observe that their child loves these things, to build, to create, has a great exploratory mind. What will you tell parents who are seeking higher education, quality higher education for their children?
Well, I would say Academic City is the place. It's a place where we bring experiential learning to the fore. We try to solve problems that are contextual to the African experience. And we understand that you need to bring multiple sources of knowledge. You need to converge knowledge in order to build products in this complex world we live in.
Okay.
And that your kids have to be continuous learners. And those are the 4 pillars that basically uphold what we do. I think it's the right place. If you want a small class size, you want an environment where there will be hands-on experience for your kids, and preparing them for the world of work. Look, I actually want to get to a place where a graduate walks into a company and says, I know what you guys are doing. I have a better idea how you can make more money. I don't want to get into the situation where my students or graduates are going around begging to be employed. I want them to be real strategic partners of their future employers. Better still, if they can walk away like the other 3 who did their own startups, that is even better.
That's great.
Because somebody got to create the jobs that will employ the next generation. And we are your partners in that regard.
I'm curious. Whenever, we talk about education and the new wave of STEM, science and tech, engineering and math and all of these things, I always ask, and the other day you were saying that nobody's born gifted, but I always go back to that question about what if you have a child whose interests are not You get my point.
Yes.
You know, somebody who's naturally not leaning towards some of these things. How will such a child fit in this space? Where, for example, like I said, naturally they are not inclined to maybe science or tech or math. They like to do other things. You know, how they fit into this current context.
So last time I pushed back on you and said, how do you know what a 3-year-old kid who hasn't really had much exposure is predisposed
But what if we're
to?
talking about, say, an older child?
So an older child, you know, when we talk about STEAM, right, where there is the art part, the A is strong. I actually think that the A is probably the most powerful of all the abbreviations in STEAM.
I see.
Because the STEM is actually solutions. So now everything you have in here, the music, the voice, is run by technology.
Yeah.
But you need somebody creative to manipulate all the systems to get a message out there. So I think whether you are inclined to science or the arts, ultimately, there is that interface that you are going to encounter.
The two will meet at a point.
The two will meet at a point. So if you come to Sparks, for instance, you know, you're going to start a project with the scissors and cardboards, or maybe a sketch, and we will call that art, or maybe it's a painting. But then when you bring it to the computer and you build a 3D model of it, you're beginning to use technology. When you print it out and you can actually take it home, that is still technology.
I see.
So the lines are not as definitive as we try to make them. They are very, very blurred. Now, I have a student who just graduated and did a startup. And when he came in, he wanted to do computer engineering. But we kept saying he didn't have elective math. So he did IT. But he started a company in robotics. So I think we need to remove these barriers, both physical and mental barriers, and actually allow the kids to explore. I use myself as an example, right? I went to University Star Village across from the hospital, and I was in middle school Form 1, and I couldn't do long division. I really couldn't do it because 99% of the time I was hungry. I mean, like, a hungry stomach cannot think. So I think what we need to do is to create this immersive environment that allows kids to explore and to make decisions. There's no reason why somebody cannot do general arts and eventually end up going to medical school. Because interests change. So let's not box the kids. Let's allow them, and it shows in other parts of the world, students get C's. And they design rovers that go on Mars. And we get our A's.
I see.
And we can't even figure out how an automobile
So it means that it doesn't really matter what your natural tendencies are. There's always that point where you can use science even to enhance this other interest you have.
Exactly. You know, I had a mate at St. Augustine's College who wanted to be a lawyer. And the dad said there can only be one good lawyer in this family. So he should go to medical school. He went to medical school, practiced in Kolebu for a while, then went back to law school, practiced law for a little bit, and then went back to Kolebu. So
he got the best of both worlds.
He's done the best of both worlds, and we have to allow people to explore.
Great.
Yes.
I mean, final words, let's talk about admissions. Are there any admissions in progress?
Yes,
How can people get in touch?
We are open for admissions. We are looking forward to embracing your wards. You can reach us at 026-269-3906. Again, 026-269-3906. Or on our webpage on www.aciti.edu.gh.
Okay, and if somebody wants to come to the school, where can they find the school?
We are very close to Transitions Funeral Home. That's the best landmark. Everybody remembers that. Or from Agbogba Police Station, just keep coming straight on the Ridge Junction Road. You'll see us at Bosche.
But Nathan, look, Academic City, they are doing great things there. I mean, they are doing fantastic things there.
I like to hear that.
Folks there who have done their own, things there. Some have gone on to study. Charlie, they are doing great things there. The only problem I have with the government has to deal with is the quality of the road in terms of, I mean, seriously. People have invested private capital and all kinds of things there to produce one of the best, training institutions we have in this country.
they shouldn't have the quality of roads that are in that enclave. I know that they are doing some road, through the transition area
to Mango Lane.
Exactly, Mango Lane. But the road that runs in front, I mean, seriously,
Causeway Road.
No, it's not right.
Yes. We need help.
Exactly. Yeah, I know you are diplomatic about it, but seriously, I mean, look, it is an embarrassment because if you see the infrastructure they have put up there. I mean, it's not the usual Ghanaian architecture you find when you're looking for, universities and all of that. I mean, it's Legon that's somewhat, close to in terms of how the outlook of the place. But it's a beautiful place.
Thank you.
Seriously, if you want to study IT, you know where to go.
Great.
Thank you.
Richard, thank you. And thank you so much. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
Just before you leave, Prof, can you run the number by us on the website again for somebody who may have missed?
Sure. So it's 026 269 3906. Again, 026 269 3960. And the webpage is www.acity.edu.gh.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Prof, all the best.
That was Professor Fred Bagonuri, President of Academic City University College. So if you want a place to send your word for higher education or for university education, you know where to go.
Because the results are even out. Recently YF released the YC results. Is the SSE results, one of them. YC is okay, great. So yeah, and people have passed. So please, look, you know where to go if you want to receive one of the best. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the Citi Breakfast Show. It's 9:49. Now, Askia Immigration Consulting Services is committed to being your source of info, your personal advisor, and authorized rep in all your immigration matters for Canada. Now, find them. They are a regulated firm, by the way, and they are located at 1 Airport Square, Airport City, Accra, Ghana, adjacent the Holiday Inn Hotel. You can visit their website, askiaimmigration.com, for free consultation. You can call 0506-012-289 or 0241-318-890 or 0595-449-054 or email welcome@askiaimmigration.com. Find them on social, Facebook, Instagram at Askia Immigration, on Twitter at Askia Immigrate. Askia Immigration Consulting Services, the joy of greatness for your journey to Canada. Now let your Mercedes-Benz be in top shape this Christmas at Silver Star Auto. Silver Star Auto, with over 25 years experience in Mercedes-Benz, is offering a fantastic end-of-year after-sales promo for all Mercedes-Benz owners. Enjoy free inspection of your passenger or commercial vehicle and enjoy 15% discount on genuine spare parts and all after-sales services at competitive prices. Promo ends on December 23. Visit any Silver Star Auto workshop in Accra, Tema, or Kumasi, or visit social media handles and the website to book your slot. T's and C's apply. This is the Citi Breakfast Show. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we've got more for you. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Man, I've just been busy these last few weeks. My company has asked me to attend this conference in Canada, scheduled for December of 2022. I submitted my application in March, but I've still not heard back from the immigration office. I don't know where to start.
What do you get when you mix the best DJs in the country? The most amazing live. What do you get when you mix the best DJs in the country? The most amazing live band sets, delicious cocktails, and wonderful food. Back-to-back hit music from Ghana's finest group, Prayer, and being serenaded by the brilliantly talented Akwabua. The biggest outdoor party, of course. Situation 2022. Are you ready to party? We're changing the situation on December 24, 2022 with the biggest outdoor party in Accra. The Situation Outdoor Party 2022. Let's wrap up the year in style with the most epic party to end all parties this Christmas Eve with Situation. Make your Christmas Eve come alive with the most incredible DJs who will keep you dancing all night long. Amazing live band sets and the crooner Akwabua. It is the perfect ingredient for the best party this festive season. Ain't no party like a city party, because a city party don't stop. This will be another one to remember. Date Saturday, 24th December 2022. Venue La Palm Royal Beach Hotel, Accra. Time 8 p.m. Dress code, it's an all-white affair. For table booking, call 020-5973-973 or 055-8973-973. Book your table and make reservations now. Media partners, Ghana Weekend and Citi FM. This is powered by Citi TV. This is a Beyond the Return event.
Odasino and I'm Musuna Meti Odasi Afi and that's a kikimia a fena uko the way one light a line. Your friend Semafu wakachi review Namimpa ucha una nyesa jayo Wa Go
9:53. Still listening to the Citi Breakfast Show. Let's go through some of your messages that have come through, Richard.
Yes, Nathan, this one says, good morning. Yesterday, I went to my bank to check a bond I invested in a year ago at Standard Chartered Bank, and the result so heartbreaking. I invested some 550,000 Ghana cedis in a 5-year bond, and the printout yesterday showed that I already lost some 246,661 Ghana cedis. Nathan, I don't want to disclose my name. Please help me. I need guidance on this. Should I redeem it now? I thought the finance minister said individual bonds will not be affected, or he misled us. Well, I'm sure we'll deal with this sometime tomorrow. Good morning, Nathan. Toma has released a major key. I thought this was something governments do in their final year when they are leaving office. This is a different level of a didija to another exponent. God help the common people without connection. This one is coming in from Kweku inside Legon. And this one says, I just returned from Data Bank to get my haircut. I stopped depositing into my Data Bank account when the MPP came to power. The total amount in my M fund is 9,142.36 Ghana cedis. The current value is 7,175.60 Ghana cedis. The haircut equals 1,966.76 Ghana cedis. AC Fund 2,751.83 Ghana cedis. The current value is 2,371.38 Ghana cedis. The haircut is 380.45 Ghana cedis. Now the EPAC 2,547.84 Ghana cedis. The current value is 2,398.40 Ghana cedis. The haircut for that equals 149.44 Ghana cedis. And the total haircut I'm getting is 2,496.65 Ghana cedis. I've lost this money through no fault of mine. Others are losing huge sums of money. A man was crying at the bank yesterday. I'm happy I stopped depositing in 2017, like I go cry too. It is better to suffer the haircut now than to keep it for 5 to 10 years. Citi, please help us. Something is happening to us. This one is coming in from Francis in Accra. And this one is coming in from Edmond, who says, good morning to the man in the studio. Please, I want to ask, were people's money moved into some kind of bond after the banking sector cleanup? If yes, then what happens to the money in those bonds? That's to mature after the years mentioned to the customers. Well, these are questions that we'll deal with sometime later. And this one says, Nathan and team, I would like to know why individual investors were not asked if they are also willing to exchange their bonds, since the finance minister says it is voluntary. It's coming in from Fifi in Hacho. And this one from Dr. Safo in the Rich Hospital says that, please, those of us investing in Data Bank Mutual Fund,
Will we be affected? It's a question. We'll note those questions and respond to them tomorrow. And this one from Joseph says, Citi, in all these things, cutting off the values of our investment and pension funds, etc., I expect the president to drastically cut down the army of staffers at the presidency. I also expect the president to cut down the number of ministers and the multiple deputies. Would they be morally right to take as gratia? That's a big question. But seriously, I mean, these are concerns that, look, I mean, you cannot be telling people who have invested their money to go and get a haircut where applicable. And then still, we see people riding around aimlessly. We see people occupying government offices that have no business existing. I mean, it does not send the right signal. Because you have run the economy to the ditch that we see it in at the moment. So if you want the people of Ghana to help you get out of the ditch, you must show that you are suffering as a result of your own actions and inaction. It is like, as one of your interviews said, you must go down to the bone. You look, before you even go to the people and say, look, we want to give you a haircut, you must show that you yourself, you have done some serious Tokyo Joe, some serious haircut. But the idea, ministers, we have multiple ministers still at post. Some have been enjoying in Qatar, they recently came back. We have all kinds of staffers as the presidency. What they do, we do not know. Majority of the times, we see some of them on social media fighting other people. You are not sending the right signal. You are not. It cannot continue like that. And it's like nobody seems to care. Like, as for Ghana people, we'll tell them what we want to do. It can't be right. You saw what happened in the UK. When the finance minister of Ghanaian origin presented a budget that created chaos in the economy, within days he was gone. A month or so later,
the PM himself left.
Yes, that's how seriously people take things in those jurisdictions. Here you mess everything up. You are calling on people to fix it, and yet we are not seeing any change in attitude. It cannot be right.
All right. That's our show for the morning. Like I said, look, there will be a lot more of these. We'll try and get more perspectives, either from government, from the various stakeholders, bankers, the people in the space, experts, academia, just so the information can keep flowing. And we'll try and ask government more questions to clarify a few of the sticking points, and then we'll see how it goes. But that's how we end today's edition of the Citi Breakfast Show. My name is Nathan Quao, and I had Bernard with me. I had Richard Delaska. I also had Godfred Akotoboafo. Show produced by Caleb Koda. Godfred Odum gave us help on technical. We are back tomorrow with more. The Nato Four Buttons here with the news at 10. And after he's done, we'll be crossing over to the live broadcast of an event organized